95.3 DF Memphis. It's time for Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. The first hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you. Connor producing. We're with you for the next 3 hours at SEC Media Days as it's day 3. And we've got a lot to discuss over these next 3 hours. We'll talk all 4 of the teams that spoke today. Florida, Texas A&M, Ole Miss, and Alabama. We'll get them all in. We'll also have Commissioner Greg Sankey with us at 4:30. You do not want to miss that, but you don't want to miss any of our talks on these teams today. So day 3 almost in the books. One more day to go. A lot to talk about. Brett, how are you this afternoon?
Brian, I'm doing well. I hope you and Connor are doing well. And today, a lot bigger vibe. I would say the 1 to 10 vibe on Monday was a kind of gentlemanly 6, maybe even a womanly 6.
Sure.
On yesterday, about 6.5, 7. Today it went to 20. And tomorrow with Lane Kiffin and Arch Manning, the Texas Longhorns, Steve Sarkisian as well. It could really pop. I think it's why it was planned that way to have those teams on the last day. But this next to last day, really good. You know, when Media Days was always in Birmingham, whether it was at the Winfrey or not, even other places, on the day that Alabama rolled in between their fans that would kind of take over the lobby and even the parking lot, some would tailgate. You're not having any Bama fans tailgating in Tampa. It does a little something to the Bama vibe, but also the last 2 years have done something to the Bama vibe. And I'll get a little more to that with my top story. But when Bama rolls in, you know, one of the big teams they've arrived, and along with the Gators and what Texas A&M did last year and what the 4th team, Ole Miss, did last year.
Yeah, I know we've talked about it through the first 2 days of, you know, kind of one team that really has those playoff aspirations and you know, the goal is to make a run in the playoffs, and then the other 3, it's kind of, okay, you know, we'll see what you've got this year. This really is the first day where you've got multiple teams that have that real playoff aspiration that feels like they have a team that can go to the playoff. We know Alabama year in, year out, they've got that feeling. Ole Miss certainly has that feeling after what they did last year. Texas A&M, they're always going to be there in the mix of a team that has those playoff aspirations. Got in the playoffs last year, and just a really a poor showing for them. So, you know, you're talking 3 teams that it's really, you know, our goal is to get to the playoff, and then we'll see what Florida, another one of these new coaches in the conference, another one of these former American head coaches in the conference. I know, you know, hearing him talk today and seeing the reaction from friends of mine, from people on social media, he knocked it out of the park. And so, you know, I think big things on the horizon for Florida with John Summerall as the head coach, but can it be this year in year 1?
3 of these 4 teams not only went to the playoffs last year, but all played in an on-campus game. Bama on the road against Boomer
Sooner.
I knew you would be ready. They go out there and win that game. That was Friday night. First game of the day on Saturday was A&M losing 10-7 at Kyle Field to a team that, you know, took Indiana to the last seconds in the finals. And later, the afternoon game that day was Ole Miss against Tulane on campus in Oxford. So these teams know about it. And it brings me to one of my many lists I have. My made college football playoff since we've gone to 12. The last 2 years since we've gone to 12 teams from the SEC, or the current 16, 7 have made it. Georgia, Texas, Alabama, Ole Miss, Oklahoma, Tennessee, and Texas A&M. And then I rank in order of the teams that probably should be thinking about that they should be getting there pretty soon. Number 1's the Gators. It's the Florida Gators. It's the swamp. It's what Coach Steve Spurrier built, and Urban Meyer kept going. Jimmy McElwain had some success, but not enough. And I don't know that Billy Napier really had very much at all. Number 2 on that list, it's LSU. 3 to haven't made it, Auburn. 4, South Carolina, close 2 years ago. 5, Mizzou, I think close 2 years ago. 6 Vanderbilt, 7 Kentucky, 8 Mississippi State, and 9 Arkansas. So 7 of the 6 teams made it. Florida, LSU got to be thinking, we're next.
No, they absolutely do. And obviously, I mean, LSU, one of those teams that we talked a ton about last year of, going into the season, a lot of people thought, all right, this is the year, LSU, a big run in the playoffs for them. We know what happened. With them, I mean, just the complete opposite direction the entire season. But now Lane Kiffin comes in. He's obviously going to bring a lot of excitement into the program. And then certainly the same with Florida, with John Summerall. It hadn't been good these last, handful of years for the Gators. But I do think John Summerall, that energy he brings, it's already getting a lot of people excited. I think he'll be able to recruit and bring guys in there. I mean, how many times did we talk about the last couple of years, the job he did recruiting at Tulane and bringing in some guys, but more importantly, retaining some guys that had big Power 4 type offers out there, and to keep those guys around at Tulane. So I think he'll have similar success doing that at Florida, and excited to see what it will look like. But I just hard to do that turnaround in year one. But I think he certainly has a roster that could be capable of doing that.
John Summerall is one of those guys that after you shake hands with him, you go, "What happened to my hand?"
Yeah.
I mean, his are so big, and it's a manly man handshake.
Yeah. Wow. Well, he certainly got everybody excited earlier today during his press conference. I heard a lot of people.
Pete Golding with a good day.
Yeah, no, really good day for him. Obviously, that's one where I think a lot of people in the SEC familiar with him, obviously with his time in the SEC, but certainly taking over Ole Miss in the playoffs last year. But his first true media days as the head coach of Ole Miss. Yeah, it was a good day for him. Mike Elko, that we talk about it all the time last year of getting kind of that adult in the room at Texas A&M, and then with Kalen DeBoer, and he got the questions this morning of, what's it look like, championship or bust? I think one of the questions was something along the lines of, how do you think you've done taking over after Nick Saban? I mean, he kind of got a lot of those questions earlier today.
Well, there was a lot of Coach Saban talk, and today was the first day that Coach Nick Saban was here on the set with the whole ESPN apparatus, SEC network as well, with all the different shows. So there was a lot of conversation about him, and he had good words for everyone. But very jokingly, I said to Coach Pete Golding, I said, I think you surprised some people with your stage presence and your speech and your words and your talking. He said, yeah, because when I worked for Coach Saban, he always emphasized 2 ears and 1 mouth. We didn't do a lot of talking around him.
That's great. Yeah, no, so it was good to see Nick Saban earlier today on SEC Network. You talk about lists and rankings. The Athletic, I think they put it out yesterday, at some point yesterday. They did, it's labeled as a tiers list, but it's also just kind of a rankings list for all the quarterbacks for the upcoming season in college football. Number 1, Trinidad Chambliss, and he was there today at SEC Media Days. But
we're doing all 138 tomorrow at 5:30, aren't we?
That's right. Yes, we're gonna rank all of them.
Just 16.
Let's see. Who do they have at Trey Hedden? 138. I also have Trey Hedden at number 138 in my ranking.
I had him 137.
Okay, so. Well, hey, I don't want to argue about that. Maybe some other numbers that we'll argue about, but certainly not.
Greg and Eli referenced that this morning when I joined them bright and early this morning, and they have Trinidad 1, and I do not mean this to be a wise guy. Why are people so surprised by it? I mean, we're not talking about Jeremiah Masoli. I mean, we're not talking about some quarterbacks at Ole Miss. We're not talking about Randall Mackey. I mean, we're talking about a guy that went for 360 in the Sugar Bowl, and we're going to do a lot of rankings and predictions tomorrow. And I made some today that made the rounds on social media, and I've heard from really nice people out there on social media about some of these predictions. Thank you. Keep your cards and letters coming. Some of them not so nice either, but that goes with it. But did you watch college football last year? Did you see what Trinidad Chambliss did? I know, Brian, and in the days and weeks ahead, talking and making predictions, the season's going to play out, and I'm going to be right or wrong. But I'm still going to be here regardless if I'm right or wrong. And if I'm right, okay. If I'm wrong, all right. I don't think that's going to be the end of time. I will have missed. I've missed before. But people, if you're very bullish on Ole Miss, I'll give you an example of a surprising national championship team. Mm-hmm. They went to the White House in the spring, and they have the trophy in Bloomington, Indiana.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, you're exactly right. So, yeah, I don't know if people are still getting hung up on D2 quarterback because I don't think they should. I mean, he showed a full year at Ole Miss last year.
Do you think people think he was lucky? One-hit wonder?
That's what I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I think that maybe could be part of it. The whole, now that the book's gotten around and it will be much different this year. Part of it could be Dante Moore. I mean, just a couple months ago, we were talking about Dante Moore as being the second quarterback taken in the NFL draft. He returns to Oregon. And so maybe some people just have that mindset of, this was going to be the second quarterback taken in the NFL draft. He's back at Oregon. He should be number one. I have no problem with Trinidad Chambliss being number one. I don't want to reveal my entire list, but I'll have Trinidad Chambliss as the number one quarterback in the SEC when we do those rankings tomorrow. And so,
tell me about the Tigers on that 1 through 138.
Yeah, so the Tigers on this, and that was what I was really interested in yesterday when this came out, is because you see all of these quarterback rankings, different things come out. Big question is, who do they have listed as the starter for Memphis? They have Marcus Stokes listed as the starting quarterback. They have him at number 95. That puts him in Tier 6, which they label Tier 6 as former Power 4 blue chip recruits who have found new homes and are trying to make the most of their new opportunities, plus some veterans who have not put it all together yet, and young quarterbacks with bright futures who are just now getting their chance. And there are a lot of quality group of 6 quarterbacks teams can win with. So they have him in Tier 6. He's behind a good amount of quarterbacks in the American Conference. You're looking at Owen McCown and Caden Veltkamp, both in Tier 5, a whole tier ahead of him. And then in front of him in Tier 6, you've got ECU, South Florida, Tulsa, Army, Navy, and North Texas, all their quarterbacks ahead of Marcus Stokes, but is a few spots ahead of Tulane's quarterback, and then obviously the rest of the teams falling behind. But I don't mind it for Marcus Stokes. Obviously, making the move from Division II to FBS will be challenging. Obviously, you saw Trinidad Chambliss do it last year, but I don't think everyone's going to have that same type of success doing it. But I think Marcus Stokes.
What if he did?
It'd be great, and I don't think he would be in Memphis very long if he has the type of season that Trinidad Chambliss had last year. But I think he'll be the starting quarterback, and I'm completely fine with their ranking where he's at, and could be good bulletin board material for him.
Right, I said I'm going to be around whether these predictions go right or go awry. Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to do the research on it, and I don't want you to do it or anybody else to do it. I wonder where this list 1 year ago had Heisman Trophy winner Fernando Mendoza.
Yeah, it's a great question. Yeah,
I bet it wasn't winning the Heisman Trophy.
No, certainly not. Certainly not. That's the great thing. I mean, we talked about it yesterday with Bo Marchant about, if you had gone around the room last year and asked about Arch Manning and about, Ty Simpson, you would have gotten very different answers about those guys. Now we see one back, with Texas this year and the other going to the NFL. And so, these preseason predictions, they're fun to do. They're fun to read. At the end of the day, like you said, these games, they'll play out, and we'll ultimately see what happens at the end of the season.
Ty Simpson legitimately turned down $6 million to go to play for the U.
Yeah, wow.
To go to the NFL.
Yeah, so I mean,
and he didn't want to do that to Alabama.
No, yeah, and so it's a great story for him, and now obviously we'll see what happens with Alabama, and that was a big question today about how those quarterbacks are doing for Kalen DeBoer. But we've got a super busy show today. We're going to talk about all of these teams that spoke earlier today. Again, Alabama, Florida, Ole Miss, and Texas A&M. But let me set up today's show before we get to top and not top story of the day. 3:30, Allie Peak from A Peak Inside Florida Football. We'll talk Florida with him, and a lot to get to with Allie about this Florida team, John Summerall taking over, and what will this new era of Florida look like? We will do that in our next segment
with her.
Allie Peak. Yes, I'm sorry. Excuse me, did I say? Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. A lot going on today with everything, all these interviews. So excuse me. Yes, she. We'll talk.
She's sitting here getting ready to go.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, okay. Allie. I did not mean that. That just slipped out. Obviously, know who we are talking with at 3:30, Allie Peak At 3:45, Olin Buchanan from TexAgs.com. Olin will join us to talk A&M, obviously, with TexAgs.com, and a lot to get to, obviously bringing quarterback back, and Mike Elko going into another season at Texas A&M. 4 o'clock, we'll take a break from SEC. John Goen from Timber Trust, he'll join us. We'll talk some golf. We'll also make our weekly picks with John. We'll talk a lot about what happened over the weekend at the Open Championship. We'll do that at 4 o'clock with John Goen. 4:30, the commissioner, Greg Sankey. He'll join us to talk all things SEC. There's plenty to get to with the commissioner at 4:30. 4:45, big number of the day. 5 o'clock, Ryan Fowler from 100.9, The Game in Tuscaloosa. Ryan will join us to talk all things Alabama. 5:30, Neil McCready from 247 Sports. He covers Ole Miss for 247 Sports. He'll join us to talk the Rebels. And at 5:45, we'll wrap up today's show like we always do with Moe's Crunch Time. Let me remind you, we're in our Family Leisure Studios where family and fun come together. Summer, it is here, and it's time to get those backyards ready for the ultimate pool party. Above-ground pools starting at $39.99 installed, with in-ground pools starting at $49,999. All in-stock patio furniture is priced to move, with 5-piece patio furniture sets starting at just $999. Outdoor sectionals, they're starting at $12.99 with free umbrella and base available with select patio furniture sets. While you're there, don't forget about the hot tubs and the swim spas. Hot tubs starting at $34.99 with swim spas starting at $16,999. Special financing is available, and if you mention this ad, get $200 off any pool or spa purchase. So make sure you get out there to Family Leisure, 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40.
We are Sports Time, live and local, and with you until 6 o'clock. And we want you to be with us by contacting us at the Sissy's Log Cabin text and talk line at 901-360-8255. Always live and local from our Family Leisure Studios. Wherever we are, we're always in our Family Leisure Studios. Connor, Bryant, Brett with you in this hour every day, brought to you by Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com. Great offers on all 2026 models and always special leasing options. Drive in luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Stop by Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway, and that's where you can put yourself in the driver's seat of the all-new 2026 flagship LS500, and you'll be looking and you'll be driving in style. You can reach them by calling 901-334-9673. But when you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and they make for the safe luxury driving experience. Online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
Well, my top story of the day, it is day 3 at SEC Media Days. 4 more teams, and I think a little different today than what we saw the last 2 days. Alabama, Florida, Ole Miss, and Texas A&M all spoke today. 3 of those teams, they certainly think that playoffs are in the picture this year. Obviously, Alabama, Ole Miss, and Texas A&M, all 3 making the playoffs last year. But what does it look like for Florida? John Summerall takes over, and what will these next couple of years look like for him with the Gators? It was one of the first things he said today when taking the podium is got to get Florida back to that championship level that they should be at. You look at Florida athletics and their other sports, especially basketball, and what that basketball program has done over the last couple of years. The championship DNA is in Gainesville, but it's got to get over to the swamp with this football team, and John Summerall, he feels like he's the guy that can do that, but what will year 1 look like for him? All the 3 other teams, I think we know what the year should look like for them, and at Alabama, the pressure is on for Kalen DeBoer. If it's not a big year this season, then I think a lot of questions start to be asked by that fan base that we know can get restless pretty easily. How does Ole Miss respond after the big playoff run last year? For Texas A&M, they make the playoffs. It was pretty embarrassing that first game for them. Can they bounce back from that, make a deeper run in the playoffs this year? A lot of questions for these teams.
My top story of the day, not many times I've ever been at SEC Media Days that Ole Miss is a bigger deal than the Crimson Tide. Yeah. They were today. They just are. They were today with Trinidad Chambliss, the MVP of the Sugar Bowl, threw for 360 in that game. Kawan Lacey Trinidad Chambliss, number 1 quarterback, according to The Athletic. Quan Lacey, I voted for him for the Heisman last year. You got 2 legitimate Heisman candidates, best running back in college football. Also, the 3rd member of the Ole Miss travel party today, MVP on the defense in that Sugar Bowl, Big William Eccles from Houston, Mississippi. And Pete Golding, he had a great day today. The Bama Trophy case, well, heck, Bama's Trophy case beats everybody's. It's chock full of championships. Ole Miss trying to add more to their trophy case. And the goal, the College Football Playoff National Championship. That is the stated goal at Ole Miss.
Mm-hmm.
Not top story of the day.
Well, my not top story of the day, it is the Boston Red Sox as they win again, part of a doubleheader today. Their first game, a 6-3 win over the Orioles. 4 runs in the first inning.
They're on fire.
I mean, it is incredible. 15 in a row. The 4 runs in the first inning. All they needed, they were able to tack on 2 more runs, but only 3 for Baltimore, so they would have been fine with just those 4 runs. They'll play again later tonight, and we'll see if that win streak can extend to 16 games.
You think anybody in the dugout or the clubhouse said, hey, never a bad time for a 15-game winning streak, is it?
Never a bad time. I mean,
always welcome those, don't we? Connor, would you like a Southsiders 15-game winning streak?
I would love that right now.
Always.
Well, Cardinals never winning again. They're not winning 15 ever again, much less 15 in a row. My not top story, the $3 billion artist rendering of the new dome in Kansas City unveiled today, and it is state of the art. It looks like something that you really could have never imagined. They'll be wanting to host everything in that new place. The College Football Playoff National Championship, one of these days, will be played right there in the heartland. Final Four will be played there. No Final Four in Kansas City that I think still has the record for hosting the most Final Fours, because they used to always go there. That's where the NCAA was really founded, and the offices were there. But it hadn't been back there since '88 with Danny and the Miracles at Kemper. They were never going back to Kemper for a Final Four, but they'll be going to the new dome. They're going to have a Super Bowl. They're going to have everything. And what are we doing out there? All these domes, Kansas City, Chicago, Cleveland, the Broncos. Will anybody be playing outdoors?
That is the question. It feels
under 60 degrees.
No, it doesn't feel like it. It feels like everybody.
Green Bay, by golly.
Yeah, they'll be the
and
only
Buffalo.
One. That's right. Those two, they'll stand alone. Everyone else going to the domes. But that'll do it for top and not top story of the day. I want to remind you about our sponsors real quick before we get to a break, making this week possible at SEC Media Days. Bangers Pickleball, Landers Ford in Collierville, Sissy's Log Cabin, Jason's Deli, First National Bank and Trust, Jim's Place in Collierville, Gould's Salon and Spa, Ronnie Grizzani's in Regalia, All-Star Chevrolet in Olive Branch, Jimmy McElroy and Associates, and Capital Grille. Let's go ahead and get to our first break. When we return, we're talking the Florida Gators with Allie Peak.
Be sure to download our Hub 901 app for instant access to Sports 56 and all the Flynn broadcasting stations from anywhere. Go to the App Store and get the Hub 901 app today.
You know what makes the city great? It's the extra special little things like great museums, a zoo, or parks, and golf courses. And the city of Memphis recognized that years ago, and they have made great city golf courses. All the renovations, like Galloway several years ago, the new one at Audubon, what they did to Pine Hill 90 years after it first opened is extra special. The amenities make a city, and golf courses are part of those amenities. They're terrific, and every golf course has its own championship. So if you want to play in the Galloway Championship, the Audubon Championship, even that OPO, the oldest golf tournament around, the Overton Park Open for the youth, that's going into year 80. That's how special Memphis golf is. You want to make a tee time? They made it easy modern way. Just go to MemphisPublicLinks.com.
It's time to ride in America's best-backed vehicles with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty at Gossett Mitsubishi on the Pike. Take your pick, 2026 Mitsubishi Outlander ES or 2026 Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross, now $389 a month. Every remaining 2025 Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross and 2025 Mitsubishi Outlander, $6,000 off MSRP. If you own a 2022 Mitsubishi Outlander, you can receive an additional $2,000 off your 2026 Rally Art and Trail Edition trims and get $4,500 off or 0% for 72 months. Plus, Tennessee residents get an additional $1,000 off all 26 Outlander sports. That's Gossett Mitsubishi, 1956 Covington Pike, online at memphismitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
Outlander TZO 20861, MSRP 32810, Cross TZO 35349, MSRP 30455. Must show proof of ownership 22 Outlander to receive Rally Art Trail. Offers include all rebates and incentives. PF 895 excludes tax title and license. Offer valid through end of the month with approved credit dealer stock only.
Hi, I'm Ryan Saharovich, a proud partner with NST Injury Attorneys. For over 35 years, we've been fighting for Memphis families after serious accidents when insurance companies are trying to pay as little as possible. If you've been injured, the call is free, and you don't pay unless we win.
NST is the way to go. Call 683-700. They've got the fight.
NST is the way to go. Call 683-7000 or visit nstlaw.com.
Being there for those we love can be so hard for people with chronic migraine. 15 or more headache days a month, each lasting 4 hours or more.
Botox, onabotulinum toxin A, prevents headaches in adults with chronic migraine. It's not for those with 14 or fewer headache days a month. It prevents, on average, 8 to 9 headache days a month versus 6 to 7 for placebo. Prescription Botox is injected by your doctor. Botox effects may spread hours to weeks after injection, causing serious symptoms. Alert your doctor right away, as trouble swallowing, speaking, breathing, eye problems, or muscle weakness can be signs of a life-threatening condition. Those with these conditions before injection are at highest risk. Side effects may include allergic reactions like rash, breathing problems, dizziness, neck and injection site pain, and headache. Don't receive Botox if there's a skin infection. Tell your doctor your medical history, muscle or nerve conditions like ALS, myasthenia gravis, or Lambert-Eaton syndrome, and medicines like botulinum toxins, which may increase the risk of serious side effects.
Why wait? Ask your doctor about Botox. Visit BotoxChronicMigraine.com or call 1-800-44-BOTOX.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. It's starting a little bit heavier now through Midtown. Right on schedule, especially over here I-40 at Danny Thomas as traffic builds across the Hernando to Soto Bridge, pushing on over into Crittenden County, trying to get south of Memphis. Moving right now down through South Haven on 55. We're keeping an eye on it as it builds down through there all the way down into Tate County. South of Memphis, you need to watch your speed. Hey, bridal season is here. Shop local right now and save all that money at Weimer's Jewelry, 7525 Highway 64. I'm Commander Chuck. You're on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you. It's day 3 at SEC Media Days. 4 new teams, and we've got to talk all about them. And right now, we're going to talk the Florida Gators. Allie Peak, she's with Brett. Brett, she covers the Gators with a peek inside Florida football. So let's go back down to Tampa with Allie and Brett.
Thank you, Brian. I'm joined by Allie Peak with a peek inside Florida football. Allie, it's glad to be talking football, isn't it?
I am so excited. This means the season is right around the corner.
The season's close and a new start at Florida. Love Billy Napier, but a change was necessary, and now you got a really exceptional guy in John Summerall.
Yeah, Gator fans are really excited. He's very different than Coach Napier, which I think was maybe Gator fans' fear on the surface, is that we were getting another guy from the state of Louisiana, from a mid-major program. And I think what we found so far is that's exactly the opposite of what we're getting. He's very different than Napier. He's intense, but likable, and Florida fans are happy so far.
He was an intense player at Kentucky and very intense assistant coach when he was at Ole Miss, and winning at 2 different spots before getting this Florida job and then into the playoffs last year. He wants to make the swamp again.
Well, Gator fans love to hear it. There has been an intensity, a passion, a fire that has been missing the last couple of years. And it really does feel like Summerall understands what the fan base is looking for, and he wants it to happen, and he wants it to happen immediately.
What's going to be the keys? Will it be deciding who's going to be at quarterback, and then on defense, that's going to be John's specialty?
Yeah, I'm actually more interested in what happens on the offensive line than I am at the quarterback. I think that both Tramel Jones and Aaron Philo are both incredibly capable, and whoever the coaching staff decides is the right guy, I think Florida fans will get behind. I am more interested in the offensive line. Florida has incredible skill talent, and we won't get to see it if our offensive line isn't serviceable. So what Phil Troutwine's able to do there, I actually think is the linchpin to all of this.
Oh, when you go offensive line question, that's the 5-star winner of football.
Well, I am a huge Phil Troutwine fan. He actually played with my husband in college. They played on the 06 national title team. Phil also played on the 08 team. He knows what it takes to win. He has a track record that he recruits, he puts guys in the league, he develops talent, and Florida's been missing that on the O-line recently, and I love the transfer pieces they've brought in. And so I do feel like if that line can be serviceable and whoever wins the starting job at quarterback can play little to mostly mistake-free football, then you get the hands in Jaden Baugh's hands. Get the ball in Jaden Baugh's hands, in BB3's hands, Eric Singleton's hands. You are going to score a lot of points.
Lacey, Hardy, Ball. What's the order of top running backs in SEC?
I feel like that's like 1A, 1B, 1C.
Yeah, you're fine.
There just is. I am biased. I think Jaden Baugh is actually the best running back in this league. Whether or not he gets to show that is going to be based on what that offensive line looks like. And I think that Missouri and Ole Miss probably have a little bit of a nod there at the moment in an offensive line, but just some incredible running back talent in this league right now.
Yeah, everybody talking about the schedule and the 9 games. Everybody got a tough schedule. Nobody got it easy.
Yeah, and I'm so interested to see if that really is taken into account come playoff time. We're told that it's going to be, but we were told it was going to be last year too, and I don't know that any of us feel like it was taken into account enough. And so did we just get ourselves into a situation where we made it harder for SEC teams to make the playoffs? I hope that's not the case, but I need to see it.
The easy answer is win games,
right?
But that's the hard part.
Correct. And in a league where you just beat up on each other week in and week out, and that 9th place team is every bit as talented as that 3rd place team, there's no conference that beats up on each other like we do.
06 was a really good year. That was a national championship year for Coach Urban Meyer.
Yes, 06 that was my senior year of college. We won a national title. Years that end in 6 are good for the Gators. They won a national title in 96. They won in 06. 86 was actually a Kerwin Bell year that was fantastic. So I don't know, maybe we're going to get something good in 2026.
We're looking forward to it, and I'll be down with Ole Miss in late September. In that game 2 years ago, I don't think there's anything better, new old tradition, than between the 3rd and 4th quarter when they hit Tom Petty.
Oh, you know what? That is one of my favorite newer college football traditions.
It really is.
I've always loved We Are the Boys, but now it is just accentuated with Tom Petty. And that game at night, the stadium is dark, and then you see everybody's phone lights and the fireworks go off and stuff. It's hard to top.
In the late 70s, when I first started listening to FM radio, he was always introduced as whatever song, Gainesville rocker Tom Petty.
Well, now he's memorialized every single Saturday with 90,000 of his friends.
He sure is. I like 2 bits before the game, though.
Oh, yeah. I think, and the fact that now it's an honorary 2 bits, and so each week we get to see somebody different that has their own place in Gator lore, I think is really cool. And they kind of make a big deal about not announcing it to the week of who it's going to be. And, Florida has some really fun game day traditions. And unfortunately, the Swamp really hasn't felt like the Swamp in recent years. It's sold out even when we've lost, which I think is great. But I'm excited for that juice to kind of get back in the stadium.
Well, when it's good and it's right, and I seem to catch it good and right every time I've ever been there. 2015, I got the Will Greer game against Ole Miss. 2 years ago, get the Great Lagway game. But tell me about the tradition of it's the swamp, and then the band hits the theme to Jaws, so we get sharks and alligators.
You know, they always joke that they're all the things that Florida are trying to kill you, and that's the wildlife in the state is trying to kill you. And so we throw a little Jaws in there, but you know, the announcer says, "And only gators get out alive." And you know, I get goosebumps sitting here thinking about it. It's one of the best entrances in college football, and you know, this fan base deserves to be proud of that stadium and to feel the electricity and the energy again. And it really has been a few years, and I'm excited for it to come back.
Allie, tell me about the cocktail party. We know it's going to be out of Jacksonville for the next 3. When will absence make the heart grow fonder for Jacksonville when we get back?
I think so. You know, I think it was a missed opportunity to do a home and home between Athens and Gainesville. I think that would have been awesome. But I think part of the tradition and the lore of Florida, Georgia is it being in Jacksonville. There is just so much pageantry that goes around it. I don't know if you've ever been, but when you look at that stadium and exactly down the middle, one half is red and black.
I have not. It's the only thing in the SEC orbit I haven't done.
It is one of my absolute favorite SEC traditions, but I do think part of that is being in Jacksonville.
Yeah, it never falls right for open date, and a time or two that it did, I just couldn't make it work, but I sure want to. Now, one other remodel of the old Gator Bowl, didn't they play it on campus, and didn't Spurrier maul Georgia in Athens?
That is where, yes, he scored 52 points between the hedges because it wanted to because it had never been done, and so he took the opportunity to do that, and you know, that was cool. And I would, you know, once a generation to get that opportunity to have those games played on campus. Not opposed to that, but I think Jacksonville is its long-term home.
He liked to keep score, didn't he?
He did. And you know what? We want a coach that likes to keep score.
You sure do. You sure do. And you got one in John Summerall. This schedule, as it plays out, you know, FSU's always at the end. I mentioned the cocktail party. We talked about Ole Miss, but you also go to Austin to play the Texas Longhorns, and Florida got them last year at the Swamp. It was Swamp night that night.
It was. That was a shining star in an otherwise depressing season. But I went the year before to Austin. It's an incredible venue to be at, and honestly, we were down to our third string quarterback at that point, so it was never even a game. I'm interested to see good against good, and I think we'll get that opportunity. And it's kind of a little bit of a measuring stick. How far are we from where we want to be? And you get that when you play the Georgias and the Texases of the world. So that will be an interesting one for sure.
Early part of the year, Florida Atlantic, Campbell, and then at Auburn. And way back when Steve Spurrier had the Gators as the team in college football, could have some trouble with Auburn back in that stretch.
I'm telling you what, crazy things happen at Jordan-Hare at night. My husband was the punter in 2006, and that was the only block of his entire career.
It's voodoo. It's voodoo there.
Voodoo. Absolute voodoo. And, you know, I think it's a bellwether game for the Gators, though. But, you know, Auburn is in a very similar position to Florida. They're breaking in a new coach. They're breaking in transfer players. It's early in the season. And so on paper, the teams are very similar. And, you know, Auburn wanted Summerall. Florida had Golish on their list. If Summerall had maybe said no, we could have swapped coaches. Who knows? So I'm interested to see how they measure up.
Every first-year coach, every new coach this year, everybody thought at one time during the carousel, Ole Miss kind of thought, you know, after Lane might get John, very popular. Arkansas kind of thought they had Alex Golish. Golish kind of wanted Florida. John kind of had the high card at a lot of places. Yeah. It was really well played by agent extraordinaire, wasn't it?
I'm telling you what, that's what happens when there's a monopoly on, coaching agents. But Summerall was a name that was hot a lot of places. Golish, same thing. And I'll be interested to see who picked the best.
Yeah, and the record will tell that.
100%. We can, we like all these things that these coaches are saying when they stand at the podium, but their measuring stick is going to be their record.
It always is. We have so much fun here talking about it, but then it gets down to pad popping and left-hand columns, all that matters.
Yes, and talking season is almost over.
And Coach Spurrier dubbed it that.
Yes, absolutely. And we're close.
In Gainesville, what kind of place is this place, is restaurant and bar?
Oh, my goodness. It is fantastic.
The memorabilia looks great.
It is, first of all, the food is phenomenal, which I think that's almost an added benefit, just an added bonus to what you walk into. It's like a living museum. But the amount of times that I've been there and Coach Spurrier has actually just been sitting at the bar or walking around talking to tables. It is a who's who of Gainesville, but they've also used it as a really cool recruiting tool. They'll close it on Fridays in June and have players and their families come in and eat their prospective players. And Florida didn't have that before. They didn't have that place that's just, this is ours. We claim this as a team and as a university, and they have that home now.
Should Urban Meyer be in the Hall of Fame?
I absolutely,
legend?
absolutely.
So I think I love Coach Spurrier, but Urban Meyer won 2.
He won 2, and I think that he revolutionized what the SEC was doing at the time. Nobody was running the spread when he came to Gainesville, and I think no one is perfect, and so I know people will point to, well, this or that. He was an incredible coach here. He was a great mentor to young men, many of which are now pillars of this community, and he won a lot.
It drives me crazy that he gets kind of stuck with everything with Aaron Hernandez. A lot of the Aaron Hernandez indiscretions happened when he was in professional football. How come they don't get the blame?
They do, and honestly, Florida did a very good job keeping him, I don't want to say under control, but contained somewhat. Right. I know that they never wanted him to go back home because they felt like the people that he hung around with in Bristol were a bad influence on him. So they really tried to insulate him and be a good role model to him. Now, did that ultimately work? No, but it worked while he was in Gainesville.
Kraft and Belichick get none of it. Coach Meyer catches it all.
I know, and I feel like that's completely unfair. And I know he made a point to mentor Aaron. He made a point to have other coaches that mentor him. And it's a complicated situation. And but I don't think anyone at Florida could have predicted it would end up like it did.
Thank you so much, Allie.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
A peek inside Florida football with Allie Peak has been brought to you as part of our coverage by Capitol Grill. Expertly prepared steaks, dry aged, 18 to 24 days, hand cut at lunch. Start with the appetizers, the soup, the salads, the shrimp cocktails, all the entrees, and that Cobb salad with sliced tenderloin at lunchtime. It's one of my favorites. The ribeye steak sandwich, happy hour menu 3 to 6. Try the lamb chops, just outstanding. At dinner, the oysters Rockefeller, lobster and crab cake, Wagyu tartare and the steaks, the filet mignon, bone-in ribeye, New York strip, the porterhouse for the table, the lobster, mac and cheese, au gratin potatoes, all the wines and desserts like the warm apple tart. Reservations online at capitolgrill.com or call 901-683-9291. Order online, gift cards, private dining, world-class wine, and that generous pour summer wine event going through August. Start booking now. Yeah, now for the perfectly planned Christmas party. Open 7 days a week at Poplar and Ridgeway in the heart of East Memphis. Valet parking at Capitol Grill.
Well, fun interview there with Allie Peak, as this will be a very interesting year at Florida in John Summerall's first season. But we need to get to another break. When we return, we've got to talk the Aggies. Olin Buchanan from TexAgs.com. He joins us next.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11 here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Whether you're buying, selling, or just want a fast cash offer, call Bubba Sandifer at Emmett Baird Realty at 901-257-9420 or direct at 901-319-0747. Looking to buy? Bubba will help you find that perfect home. Thinking about selling? Don't just stick a sign in your yard and hope for the best. With Bubba Sandifer at Emmett Baird Realty, you get maximum exposure, serious buyers, and real results. Want speed? He'll buy it as is for cash. Want top dollar? He'll list it. Either way, you win. Call Bubba Sandifer at 901-319-0747.
Old Dominick Distillery invites you to have a sip of Memphis. Discover downtown Memphis and raise a glass to the city's history with free distillery tours through September 7th. Locals and visitors alike can book a free tour of Old Dominick's downtown Memphis distillery, where you can learn how award-winning spirits are made from grain to glass. Old Dominick Distillery. Come for the spirits, stay for the experience. Cheers to Memphis. Learn more at olddominick.com.
Chris Price here with Metro Builders Roofing and Restoration. We've seen days, even what seems like weeks of soaking rain, damaging hail, and even flooding. So today, do one simple thing. Look up. If you see a water stain, bubbling paint, or discoloration on your ceiling, don't ignore it. What starts as a small roof leak can quickly become mold, turning a minor problem into a major expense. At Metro Builders Memphis, our professionals will inspect your roof, assess any storm damage, help mitigate further damage. We'll measure your roof from outer space and guide you through the repair or replacement process with an estimate on site with multiple options at that. Don't let them tell you your roof needs to be replaced when all it may need is some love. We'll give you an honest assessment so you can make the right decision for your home and family. At Metro Builders Memphis, call me, 901-375-1717. That's 901-375-1717, or simply book your appointment online at metrobuildersmemphis.com.
Mid-South, we've hatched a plan for fun, so get ready, set, and drive at Gossett Volkswagen on the Pike. Hey, you want great MPG? We Gossett at 40 MPG highway estimate. In 2026 Jetta S, just $249 a month. Jetta S, $249 a month. You want it, you love it, and we Gossett in 2026 Tiguan 2.0 TS. Only $269 a month. Tiguan $269 a month at Gossett Volkswagen on the Pike. Plus, take a good look at 2026 Atlas SE. We Gossett now just $329 a month. $329 a month for Atlas SE. You want it, we Gossett, covered at Gossett Volkswagen, 1875 Covington Pike. Online, GossettVWMemphis.com.
If you want it, we Gossett at Gossett Motor Cars.
36 month lease. Atlas TC 564,481. MSRP 41,911. Jetta TMO 312,217. MSRP 25,791. Tiguan TMO 43,763. MSRP 32,881. Includes all rebates and incentives. Must be financed through Volkswagen Financial Services. PF 895. Excludes tax title and license with approved credit offer in 73126. Dealer stock only. MPG estimate provided by EPA.
It's time for SEC Media Days. Join Brent Norsworthy as he broadcasts live from Tampa Monday through Thursday, previewing the upcoming SEC football season and brings you interviews with players, coaches, and SEC insiders. Tune into Sports Time with Stats and Bryant Dacus from 3 to 6, and also hear from Stats throughout the day for SEC Media Days coverage on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Brought to you by Landers Ford in Collierville, Ronnie Grisani, Sissy's Log Cabin, Capitol Grill, Bangers Pickleball, and Jimmy McElroy and Associates.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you. We're at SEC Media's Day 3 coverage. We just talked the Florida Gators. Now we got to talk the Texas A&M Aggies. Olin Buchanan from TexAgs.com. He joins Brett now.
Thank you very much, Bryant, back at Radio Row at SEC Media Days at the Marriott in Tampa, and it wouldn't be A&M Day without talking to Olin Buchanan from TexAgs. Olin, another SEC Media Days, and this year, a year after A&M delivered, got in the college football playoff and hosted a home game.
Yeah, it was a fun year last season. Didn't end the way we wanted, obviously. We'd like to have seen them win a game or two, and, you know, for the postseason, me selfishly actually get to go somewhere. Because the season ended in College Station. But
that was your bowl game.
That was. It was a heck of a game. It just, they didn't make the plays at the end. They were 5 yards away from forcing overtime. And
Miami was really good.
Miami is really good. They played for the national championship. So the big question that everybody has now is can A&M do it again? A&M, as you know, they're respected. They're not feared. They're respected because, they're consistently good. And if you'll look, every so often, 4, 5, 6 years, they'll have that outstanding season like last year, but then they kind of fall back. And Mike Elko acknowledged this right away when he took over.
The EKG machine.
Yeah. And he said, hey, look, my goal is to make this a consistently excellent program that it's not unusual for them to be in the playoffs. They want to be that team that maybe you go to the playoffs 3 out of 4 years instead of 1 out of 4. Mm-hmm. And if they can go again this year, that's obviously a big step in that direction. We'll see. They had 10 guys taken in the draft, and that is the most that they had in a long time.
And loaded recruiting.
They did have recruited well.
And next year's class
Yeah, more importantly, though, for this year, Mike Elko, historically, so he's only been our head coach 2 years, A&M's head coach 2 years. But in those 2 years, he has done really well in finding the, quote, diamond in the rough in the transfer portal.
Mm-hmm.
Guy like Nate Bokacher, who had 19 catches in 4 seasons at Nebraska. He came down here.
Blows up.
It did really well, and he was a second-round pick. Tyler Onyedem came down from Iowa State, where he played defensive end in a 3-man front. He played tackle in a 4-man front and did really well. He was a third-round pick. So he's going to have to do that again this year because they have some holes that have to be filled.
A&M has more realistic expectations than UT has.
Well, that's
UT thinks they should win every year, don't they?
Texas does feel like they should win every year, and there have been some years. I remember when Charlie Strong was the coach, and one year he said, let's be realistic. He says, we're not going to win the national championship this year. And his fan base was outraged. And
then let's find a coach that can.
I guess I can understand that, but he was telling them the truth because they weren't very good that year. I think A&M is a team that a fan base that typically has a good idea of where they are.
As we look back on the history of college football, isn't Texas fortunate to have their one that they have since the advent of color television when they went with Vince Young?
I know people in Austin will tell you, and people I actually respect, like Kirk Bowles.
Yeah, I do
tell you that I think it was their 2018 was capable, but that was a team that they finished in a 3-way tie with Oklahoma and Texas Tech. Yeah. And Oklahoma got in. Yeah, like they always
lost Florida.
Right. So, so they've had some good teams, some great teams.
The Colt McCoy team was good the next year against Bama, but Bama was better in building the dynasty. This year for A&M, I hear a lot of people on Marcel Reed. Do you want him being that back foot 35, 40 time a game, fogging it from the pocket guy, or do you want him more ad-lib?
I think Marcel's a good quarterback, and he's trying to become a great one. And I think for him to be great, he needs to be moving around. I think his elusiveness is what can make him special. When he got his very first start, and Connor Wigman was hurt again, and he started against Florida. He didn't know he was going to start until about 30 minutes before the game. And 3 plays in, they're looking at 3rd and long, and he scrambles for like 25 yards, gets the first down right away. Everything, dynamics of the game kind of changed. So, no, I think if you make Marcel a pocket passer, you're taking away what makes him great or what can make him great.
Offensive line, lose everything, don't you?
Yeah. Well, the starting center is back, Mark Naboo.
Okay.
But 4 starters, and all 4 were taken in the NFL draft. One was a 2nd-round pick, one was a 3rd-round pick.
Big boys.
So I think that's the question of this thing. I think A&M could have a really good team if their offensive line is effective. Now, Mike Elko went heavy into the portal, like I was talking about earlier, and he brought in 4 guys who at least had some starting experience in the SEC. 2 of them were from LSU. Well, other people say, well, LSU's line wasn't very good last year. You got 2 of them. One of them was from Alabama, Will Conforming. Somebody said, well, their offensive line wasn't that great last year. And then the other was Tavon Ball from South Carolina.
Ole Miss got 1 too in Kearney.
Will they be able to take those guys and some of their young guys that they have a 5-star guy, Lamont Rogers, that'll be a 2nd-year player, and a guy from Tennessee named Borden that they really like. So are they going to be able to put together an offensive line that's effective? I think it'd be fooling yourself to say can it be as good or better than last year? No, can it be effective? If their offensive line's not a liability, A&M could be really good this year.
If it's effective with those running backs and a stable of running backs, can really go out there and pound it.
Yeah, they have good running backs. They do. Reuben Owens came in for the injured Le'Veon Moss last year, ended up leading the team in rushing, and he's a big play guy. And they got a kid from Memphis, Jamar Morrow, who's he's a highlight waiting to happen.
Sure is.
He really is. He's an exciting player. And then they brought in, he's a freshman, true freshman, but it was in our state. It was a kid from Carthage named KJ Edwards, and he's a blur too. So they feel good about running backs. They really feel good about the receiving. Even losing Casey Concepcion as a first-round pick, the receiving position is still probably the team's strength. They brought in Isaiah Horton from Alabama, and he's a big 6'3", 6'4" guy, and that's what A&M didn't have last year. So Mario Craver's still around. Ashton Bethel Roman, they're pretty deep there behind them, but I think that Isaiah Horton will provide a different element that they didn't have last year.
Thanksgiving weekend, A&M and Texas, what are they playing for?
Well, hopefully they're playing for it, to get into the SEC championship game. If nothing else, they're playing for just unabashed, unadulterated hatred.
It's always great about Thanksgiving, isn't it?
Yeah.
We bring out the hate after we eat turkey, don't we?
Heck yeah, it's like that egg bowl.
It is.
But it's just a bigger egg.
Yeah.
There's even more hatred.
Yeah.
So, but I think Texas is a team that's very confident about, and I think a lot of people believe in them, that they'll be a team that's a playoff team. A&M is a team that could be a playoff team, and again, I think a lot of that goes back to that offensive line. So hopefully that's a game. Good Lord, what if they had to play twice? Play back-to-back weekends.
It's a lot of hate.
That sure would. They have that.
We got plenty.
Extra security.
We don't ever run out, do we?
I think those Georgia Bulldogs probably have something to say. Maybe those Ole Miss Rebels too. They're supposed to be really good still.
Sure.
I know this. I feel pretty good about any team that has that quarterback and that running back.
I like it. I like that combo. I like you, Olin. We'll catch up during the year.
Oh, I'll look forward to it.
I'll be texting. Olin Buchanan with TexAgs, and we appreciate it. We visit every year at Radio Row. All our coverage brought to you this week by All-Star Chevrolet and Olive Branch, Jimmy McElroy and Associates, Capitol Grill, Ronnie Grisani's in Regalia, Gould Salon and Spa, Jim's Place in Collierville, First National Bank and Trust, and we'll have First National Bank and Trust Friday football forecast at 5:30 every Friday this football season, picking all the games. Jason Deli, Sissy's Log Cabin, Landers Ford in Collierville, and Bangers Pickleball, where we'll be out on remote in about 2 weeks. And Jimmy McElroy and Associates, if you need some help, and we all do at times, Jimmy's there for you. In financial trouble, need a little help, call Jimmy at McElroy and Associates at 901-363-7283. At McElroy and Associates, they understand. Bad things, really crummy things can happen to good people, and Jimmy has helped thousands of people overcome financial problems in over 30 years of experience, licensed in Tennessee and in Mississippi. They make the process as easy as possible. Contact them today. Find out how you can get a fresh start. That's at Jimmy McElroy and Associates at 901-363-7283.
Well, we're talking all things SEC Media Days. 2 teams down. We'll discuss the other 2 later. Again, a reminder, Greg Sankey, the commissioner of the SEC, will join us at 4:30. But right now, we need to wrap up this first hour, get to a break. When we return, we're talking golf. John Goen from Timber Trust, he joins us next.
You have opinions?
I think it's over.
Of course you do.
I don't think it's that simple.
Everyone does.
I got all the answers.
Hit us up on the Sissy's Log Cabin listener line at 360-8255.
Unlock your new go-to spot, Codes Dispensary in Steele, Missouri, just over an hour from Memphis. When you're ready for a legal, reliable option, they're right up the road. Explore the full menu of top-shelf products in-store and online. Short on time? Order ahead and cruise through the drive-thru for a quick pickup. Stack rewards while you stock up with Club Codes. Earn points for every dollar spent. Codes Dispensary, now open in Steele, Missouri. Supreme cannabis that's worth the drive. Learn more at CodesDispensary.com. That's CodesDispensary.com.
It's time to get your backyard ready for the ultimate pool party with a little help from Family Leisure. If you've been sitting on the fence about taking the plunge with a pool, now's the time to take the dive. You want an above-ground pool? Done. Starting at $39.99, and that's with installation. You want an in-ground pool? Take your pick. They start at under $50,000. Accessorize that pool with a patio furniture set starting at just $9.99. Outdoor sectionals? They start at $12.99. $12.99. In fact, all in-stock patio furniture sets are priced to move. And with select patio furniture sets, you'll get a free umbrella and base. Okay, you aren't looking to get into a pool just yet? Family Leisure has hot tubs that start at just $34.99. Get in shape or stay in shape with a swim spa starting at $16,999. Get your backyard, front yard, side yard, whatever, ready for fun. Family Leisure, Whitten Road at I-40, where family and fun come together.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roof Services. Do you know what Penny Hardaway and I have in common? We should both be in that building celebrating the best basketball players of all time. Of course, I'll have to buy a ticket to get in, but he should already be there. But seriously, we both surround ourselves with the best people we can find. We work hard to achieve our goals, and we are both among the best in our respective fields. At Fiveash, we can't win titles or get national awards, but what we can and do strive to do is give 100% of ourselves to give you the best product possible and one you can be proud of. So if you need a roof, siding, or gutters, give us a call at 901-367-0050, and we will do everything we can to provide you the best of everything. Fiveash Roofing. Fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Fiveash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Rick's Powder Coating for a beautiful finish every time. Rick's Powder Coating specializes in automotive, ornamental, residential, and industrial coating. With 2 conveyor lines and the largest batch ovens in the Mid-South, Rick's can accommodate all of your powder coating needs. Locally owned and operated since 2002, Rick's Powder Coating will customize a beautiful finish just for you. Drop by or call to see how Rick's Powder Coating can bring color to your life. 901-367-2771 or rickspowdercoating.com.
Hey, Sid.
Yeah?
You know what's coming to the Peabody Hotel, right?
What's coming to the Peabody Hotel? You have got to tell me.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, that is so cool and amazing.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. Starting to get a little bit heavier now. Right on schedule. Trying to get out of Midtown on 240 southbound at South Parkway. There's some volume now over here in the last few minutes. Eastbound I-40 passing Watkins there off the 101 connector headed towards Warford and Hollywood as that volume picks up also coming off 240 onto 385 Bill Morris Parkway going outbound towards Collierville. Hey, don't let a slipping transmission make things worse on your car or truck. Having transmission problems? Come to Amco Transmissions, 2 locations right here in Memphis. I'm Commander Chuck. You're on time traffic.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10. Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Landers Ford in Collierville. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
When you hear the sound of coming, hear the drums drumming, I want you to
Welcome back in Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you. We're talking all things SEC Media Days this week as day 3 down in Tampa, but we're going to take a little bit of a pause on the SEC talk. That's because we've got to talk some golf, and John Goen, he joins us every single week to talk golf. He joins us now. John, how's everything going down at Timber Trust?
Fellas, everything's good. Y'all doing all right?
Doing great. Can't complain.
Yeah,
Can't complain at all.
Yeah, just
ready to talk golf with you. And boy, we've waited a while, but the hard pan dry season hit, didn't it?
I don't know what y'all are talking about because I got almost an inch of rain overnight last night.
Oh my gosh.
Great.
I mean, it just the hits just keep on coming. I mean, you know, they predicted 0 rain chances yesterday, and we got like a 10th in the early afternoon, and then I guess around 4 o'clock in the morning this morning, something rolled through, and we just got absolutely drilled. So
you're not hard pan.
So
you're cart path only.
we were actually. I kept us off the path today. You know, it was borderline. We probably needed to drain out a little bit more, but I mean, the ground's still firm enough to where, you know, I think we could just kind of get away with it. And we were going to be out spraying, so everybody was going to wonder what in the heck why we could get out there and they couldn't. So we just went ahead and left everybody off the path, and I'm hoping they were appreciative. I don't think they were going to do too much damage at the end of the day. So,
yeah, well,
they should have been given every putt that hit the green. Then, if you were 20 feet out, all good. Everybody's good.
right, exactly. Yeah, I mean,
Good.
we were out. We verticut and mowed today, and then we were out doing our kind of second spray application with some herbicide, kind of continuing to work on Brett's favorite Dallas grass deal there, and so we had a lot of good results from a few weeks ago when we first put that out, and so had actually really, really good control from that. And so the second round we'll probably knock it back. We're seeing the Bermuda grass already pushing through, and we're really kind of getting to that one uniform playing surface that we've been shooting for. So happy and excited about that as we just kind of continue to keep bringing this golf course back. I know it's been 7 years, but it's definitely a process at this point.
Yeah.
Last Friday afternoon, halfway around the world, it wasn't Dallas grass, but it was knee-high heather, the wispy stuff, a lot of dry grass at the Open Championship, and a rule that I don't know that I'd ever heard of was used on Bryson DeChambeau. Was the application of the rule correct in your opinion?
I mean, look, I think however they wanted to rule, they were going to rule in that direction. I think that, in watching it, looking at it, was there, if it's us, even in some native areas that we have, or some taller grass areas, or if you're walking through some, unmowed Dallas grass, are you going to pick your legs up a little bit more and put them down a little more forcefully? More than likely. Clearly this is a 50-50 call. Even if when you're talking to everybody, player wise and in the media wise, it is a 50-50 call, and it literally split two different directions. If you're friends with Rory, you're siding with Rory. If you're friends with Bryson, you're siding with Bryson. And if you're Switzerland, like Scotty Scheffler and some others, then you are just trying to figure out how you can not answer a question and just keep moving on. It's a difficult one. I think it could have gone either way. It's interesting that Bryson's rule goes that way, and Scotty Scheffler's on Sunday goes a completely different way. Scotty gets an extremely favorable ruling his direction, when I think they ultimately wound up finding the golf ball, but at the time they didn't find the golf ball before they gave him the ruling to give him free relief, to my recollection of kind of what was going on at that point in time. So, you can definitely see that it's a bit of a joke at the end of the day, and I don't think it has anything to do with Bryson being on LIV or anything along those lines. I think it was extremely unfortunate. I don't think Rory continues to paint himself as Brett's favorite golfer that you love to hate, because what he did in that press conference was completely uncalled for a guy who's trying to be the face of the PGA Tour and bring everybody back together and do all these things. That was completely childish and completely uncalled for. And it just goes to show that he's no leader for the PGA Tour. That's why Tiger continues to kind of be the face. And when they're making these announcements about schedule changes and all these other things, Rory wants to insert himself. But at the end of the day, Rory is just a complete and utter child, and I don't understand at all why he decided he needed to say what he said publicly in that regard.
Yeah.
He acts like a 15-year-old neurotic twerp, and it's because he is. And then he doesn't want that role as the face of the tour. He backed out of that. It got too rough and tumble with LIV, and sharp elbowed for him. Now they did a little bit pull the floor out from under him when they made the deal to go in with the royal family. But he has zero self-awareness, John. I mean, just none. He stiffed Memphis last year, in the year that Fred Smith passed away. That's just showing no awareness to what is bankrolled the PGA Tour and made his second and third and fourth and fifth houses possible in his life. He's getting ready to stiff us again this year because he's into all the I know he's into the top 50 in St. Louis and probably all the way into Atlanta. It's Tour Championship at East Lake. And to do it so sanctimoniously after he was wanting to fight a few years ago at the Ryder Cup, he's all of 5'8". Who is he fighting?
Yeah, no, he's well, I mean, we know exactly who he is, and for a guy who wants to be this player that everybody tends to love, he always tends to kind of show his true colors, and at the end of the day, it's an absolute joke in my opinion. I don't understand it at all. So,
people here in our listening area, if you are a golf fan, then it applies. If you're not, then it's not applicable to it. But if you're a golf fan and you're also a Grizzlies fan and you get so torn up and want to get so mad at LeBron about any diss or comment or backhanded anything toward Memphis, you want to get so mad at him, but yet 2 years in a row on Sunday afternoon, if you're a golf fan and a Rory fan, you've spent that Sunday afternoon at the Masters boo-hooing and crying and pulling for him when he's done a lot more of an affront and kneecap Memphis than LeBron has ever done.
Well, and it's always so interesting too, right? Because, it's now happening obviously in college football just as much as it's happening in professional football. But, you've got your player and you got your favorite player. And as soon as that player leaves, he's not your favorite player anymore. And I think that, clearly in golf, people tend to kind of hang with their people a little bit, which I don't quite understand. Again, I think Rory has completely shown what kind of individual he is. And, it's just, to your point, I have said this from the get-go, and that is I still don't understand why it's not mandatory that the FedEx Cup champion doesn't have to mandatorily appear in I just made that word up, I think.
Hey,
appear in Memphis. Tiger never did it. There's some others that have not, shown up in Memphis from that standpoint. And after FedEx has given them a rather large check, and I just don't understand how that is not built into, what happens to support your largest sponsor by far.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I'm definitely with you on that. You mentioned Scotty Scheffler a couple minutes ago. What did you make of the weekend for him? Back-to-back 2 unders in the first 2 rounds, even in the third round, and then 3 under in round 4. T4 on the weekend at 7 under. What did you make of his showing at the Open Championship?
Well, at the end of the day, he should have won if he could putt.
Mm-hmm.
I think that he clearly is struggling with his putter, as he tends to do. There are streaks, the last few years in particular, where, Scotty struggles with a putter. And he's clearly in one of those modes right now. And, until he kind of figures a way to fix that. Now, granted, it could more than likely be this week, because we all know at the end of the day, this field is not spectacular by any stretch of the imagination. So, he can go up there and beat up on a bunch of, below 20th in the world guys and make himself look like a world beater and go from there. Or, I guess too, he could show up there and, finish T15 or 20 and everybody continues to kind of keep talking about him. So, overall, it's just another kind of, I guess for lack of a better term, kind of backdoor top 5 and but he clearly continues to show some struggles, and it'll be interesting to see, how he's going to be able to rebound and figure out what to do with a putter from that standpoint.
What's the real Scotty putting? The one that couldn't putt, that we were always saying if he ever putts, he's going to win everything. Then he starts putting and he won everything, and now he can't putt again. What's the real guy? And John, he just turned 30, by no means old, but we saw a guy in a lot of areas of his game after 30, mostly been forgotten. Sometimes all those missed putts, here comes that scar tissue, here comes those snakes in the head, and I think it got Jordan Spieth. Any chance it gets Scotty? And what's the real Scotty, the putter or not the putter?
Well, I think Scotty is much more mentally tough than Jordan is. Just a personal feel, just because of, how he continues to kind of keep, grinding things out at this point. And how he seems to be able to kind of shrug things off. I mean, once Jordan started having his challenges, I mean, all of the talking to himself and talking to Michael Greller and everything else, I mean, Jordan clearly gets in his own head and can't get out of his own way. And, but Scotty, although Scotty's had a couple of antics, the last couple of months, one kind of jumping on Ted Scott a little bit, and another one, even the reaction to the bounce that he got, this past weekend, where he feels like he hit a good golf shot. At the end of the day, man, you're the one hitting the shot. If it's a bad club or a bad number or whatever, then you can have the conversation with your caddy. But
yeah,
and then you got to be able to.
You're
shrug
making
off,
the deposit
especially at
slips.
the
You got to take the bad
Right.
shots.
And especially at the Open, you got to be able to shrug off the bad bounces, because they happen over there all the time. Especially with as baked out as the golf courses get and everything else, you're going to get bad bounces all over the place during that event. So you just got to be able to shrug them off and move on.
Yeah, absolutely. When you look at Scotty Scheffler going into this week, because you kind of laid it out of, he's the top guy in a field that's including a lot of guys that are nowhere near the top. Do you think that with the way he's been playing and some of these woes he's had, especially with the putter, that he'll try to go out there and be dialed in and playing his best golf? Or do you think he's going to go out there and just kind of, hey, I'm just out here. This isn't a major championship. I'm the top guy out here. And, maybe we see some more of those woes come up just because maybe he's not as locked in.
I don't necessarily see Scotty just kind of showing up and going through the motions. I think he'll show up and I think at this point too, because he hasn't been winning all that much. I think, he's going to want to try and win just to take some of that narrative away, So from that perspective, I think he shows up and I think he's going to try to be as competitive as he can be. And then that way, he gets the monkey off his back, and then he's going to take some time off and then he'll, pop back up around playoff time, and away we go, and he'll make his little run. So, I don't see Scotty showing up and missing a cut this week. How about that?
Yeah.
Now, could he potentially just go through the motions and, finish in the top 15? Sure. Absolutely he can. But, I think at the end of the day, I think that this gives him the opportunity to go out, win a golf tournament, give himself some momentum and some positive, juju going into the weeks off that he's going to take and go from there. So, I think he's stats picked this week. No problem.
Well,
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I don't know about that either, John. I might.
Scotty's let me down. He's let me down a lot. John, go and talk golf with us huh?
No, I was just going to say, hold on. You said that you were done with him, and then last week you still took him because you were just going to ride with him. So we all know.
I may really be done with him this time. Y'all know what we just did? We just did this to the champion golfer of the year. We haven't mentioned Ryan Fox yet, and he was here in Memphis last year. He will be back in Memphis this year, and we just did that to him, talking more about Rory and whatever he finished.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate to do that to the guy, but I guess that's what happens when the Open kind of played to the Open narrative at the end of the day, right? You kind of have somebody like this. Now, granted, look, you got to hand it to him because when he started the breaks that he got coming down the stretch to be able to shake that off, and, especially the one on 15, the bounce that he gets in that, in that bunker, and then he's got to play it out sideways. That goes to what I was talking about before, where you got to be able to shake those off. And Scotty wasn't shaking it off; he was continuing to complain about it. Ryan Fox gets in there, hits the shot out sideways, makes bogey, goes to the next hole, bounce back birdie, and then the drive that he hits when everybody is struggling on the 18th hole. I mean, everybody's struggling on the 18th hole. He pipes a drive, and then hits a really good golf shot. The thing I love is how quick he flows. There's no pace of play issues in Ryan Fox's group.
Not at all.
That's great. John, have you ever seen a golf tournament that had more shots with putts from the fairway and then people on their knees?
Yeah, the runoffs and everything, on that golf course. But again, it just goes to the conditions, because at the end of the day, you can't hit shots over there like you can, the shots that you try to hit here in the States. You just can't hit them over there. So, there's a lot of Texas wedges during Open Week, Open Championship Week. So, always fun to see. Always interested as to how those guys, figure out a way to play those shots, since they are just extremely unique to over there. And I think that's too why so many of them, wind up playing in the Scottish Open now the week before, just so they can kind of get acclimated to, having to play shots like that.
Absolutely.
And now the rapidly developing weekly question of who's player of the year?
I think you got about 5 or 6 guys that you could potentially look at. Obviously the major winners, and then but a lot of that's going to depend on down the stretch. We're all not rooting for Rory at the end of the day. We all know that. So, I mean, look, it's whoever I decide that I trash talk the week of pick, because for some reason they all figure out a way to miraculously play well after I trash talk them. Aaron Rye had a good couple of rounds,
Sure did.
At the Open Championship, kind of, came back. Obviously, Bryson was in the mix after I basically told Connor that he wasn't going to even make the cut, so I guess at the end of the day, there's a really good chance for anybody that I trash talk during weekly picks could wind up being player of the year. So I'm going to say that it's going to be Rory, knowing doggone well, based off of my current track record, that there's no way in this world that it can be Rory, because I'm way too positive for him.
Good job.
Right,
That's a good job.
Yeah, no, that is a good job. Well, let's go ahead and get to our picks for the 3M Open this weekend. I've got the first pick. I will take Scotty Scheffler.
Scotty
Oh, he
Scheffler.
wasn't even there for Brett.
Yeah,
my old friend.
Yeah, I'm gonna go
Good
back
enough
to
for him.
this event. I mean, what am I supposed to do? I mean, Scotty's sitting there. I know I've stood 10 feet down, and I'm not taking Scotty. But with this field, I got to take Scotty. I'm sorry.
Well, I was done with him anyway. I'm glad you
Yeah,
have him.
I made it
Good
easy
luck
for
with
you.
it. Hideki Matsuyama for me.
All right.
Connor?
Interesting pick.
I'm going to go with
Look
Tom
there.
Kim.
Tom Kim, okay.
Okay. Won 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
John?
Let's see here. I guess I'm going to go with Gary Woodland. Why not?
All right. Why not?
Why not?
I mean, you've got a good enough lead. You can just pick whoever.
You've toyed with us. You could go this
Really
week and not
have.
make picks and still win by millions. Millions. So any 2 this week.
Yep.
No ranking on shot pick, but it just would pay double if you win. It would no quad, of course, not a major. Are we playing double or just regular purse, John?
Whatever y'all want to do.
It's up to you. Dealer's choice. You're in charge.
Oh, dealer's choice.
I mean, let's see. The purse this week, what's Scotty going to win? Like $3 million, $4 million?
Yeah.
It's not 4 because it's not a $20 million purse. It's not a signature event, right?
About 2.8, yeah.
Why not? Let's just go double.
All right.
There you go, John. Way to go.
Love it.
Shock us, Bryant. Now, the shot pick would just pay double. It would not pay.
Right.
quad.
It's just double across the board. We're not going double quad. We're just going double.
Right.
Definitely not.
All right, Bryant.
With all
Let's
that being
not everybody
said,
get so excited.
No. I'm still excited. I mean, what a great weekend we have of golf. Give me Johnny Kiefer. Big Keef.
Johnny Kiefer. All right.
I love Johnny Kiefer.
And I'm not kidding you. There were more people in the Open Championship named Rasmus than there were named Bill. Did y'all notice that?
A lot of
So give me one of
Rasmuses
them.
out there.
Give me Rasmus Højgaard.
All right. I like that. Connor?
I'm going to go Corey Connors.
All right.
Canadian Corey Connors, very, very, very close to the Canadian border in the Twin Cities. John?
I'm going to take Lucas Glover.
All right. The glove. Lucas Glover. Love it. All right, well, it should be a fun weekend at the 3M Open. But, John, before we let you go, tell us what y'all have got going on at Timber Trust, how people can make tee times.
Yeah,
wait a second, John. Nobody picked, and not our great friend down at the Rendezvous, Pat Donahue, but did you see this name in the field? Old Muzzy Donahue. Nobody picked Muzzy?
Oh, I missed that in there.
M-U-Z-Z-Y. Any relation to Pat? Does anybody know?
Look, we all know that Pat will respond to that, so we'll just wait for the text message from Pat to basically deny that Muzzy Donahue is any relation to him, although he might want to claim him.
Might as well.
But,
tell us what's going on, John.
Yeah, no. So, normal week for us. So 2-man scrambles tomorrow night, 5:30. It's actually supposed to be even a little bit cooler tomorrow after the cold front moved through today. So it should be a great day tomorrow. Normal weekend for us for the most part. So, kind of looks like might have potentially a little bit of impact from, the tropical storm down in the Gulf. But, at this point, who knows? Because, as we talked about early on, there was no rain in the forecast for yesterday, and we got an inch. So, don't believe the forecast. Always kind of check it before you're looking for your tee time. But plenty of tee times for this weekend. The golf course is in good shape. Like I said, we're out just kind of, working on a few things still. So you can call us 662-895-3530 to book your tee time through the shop, or you can also book your tee time online at timbertrustgolf.com. And then, of course, follow us on social, Facebook and Instagram at Timber Trust Golf Course, and all your updates and everything about what's going on at the club from that perspective. So should be a good weekend. Looking forward to everything. And, hopefully we'll see everybody come down to North Mississippi there in Olive Branch and come visit.
Yeah, should be a lot of fun. John, as always, thanks for joining us. We'll do it again next Wednesday.
All right, fellas. Take care. Have a good weekend.
Thanks, John. Right back at
you. Thank you, John. John going with us from Timber Trust with the golf picks and double. That was nice of him because he's got such a lead.
Yeah, I mean,
very nice.
Not like he was really being nice. He just likes toying with us.
Our good friend John going, right?
Yeah, no, great.
He does like toying with us. He knows he's got some on the string with us, doesn't he?
Yes,
he's
he
just
does.
he's having a good time
having
at
a
our
ball
collective. But we're having at our expense. We're having a good time at SEC Media Days, and always with us. They're with us this week, but they're always with us. The great people at Landers Ford and Collierville, title sponsor of this hour, will be the primary sponsor at the FedEx St. Jude Championship when we're at Southwind in just a few weeks, getting ready for the 69th straight year of the PGA Tour coming through Memphis. And at Landers Ford, if you want out of your high car payment, they'll get you out right now. Landers Ford in Collierville, the #1 Ford dealer in the Mid-South. They say don't pay too much. A special selection of new Fords are on sale right now with 0% APR financing available, plus 0 payments for 90 days. The drive down your payment event right now at Landers. Plus, get a complimentary 2-year premium maintenance plan and a $1,000 Ford SSE down payment assistance. And with top dollar for your trade, you can lower your payment even more. Shop one of the largest selections of new Fords in the Mid-South. The price you see is the price you pay. No hidden addendums. That's the Landers Ford difference. Get started now at LandersFordMemphis.com. Don't wait. The best new Fords, they will sell fast. Give them a call to schedule your test drive right now or first thing tomorrow morning at Landers Ford in Collierville. And always remember, if it doesn't say Landers, you paid too much.
Well, we need to get to another break. When we return, you're not going to want to miss this. The commissioner of the SEC, Greg Sankey, he joins us next on Sports Time.
Not only can you listen to your favorite shows on Sports 56, you can also watch video of the shows live on Twitter and YouTube. Watch and listen every day at Sports 56 WHBQ.
Huey's has been serving the Memphis community since 1970. In this local, family-owned restaurant, you'll find a casual setting and laid-back atmosphere, where entertainment includes writing on graffiti walls and listening to live music every Sunday. Huey's has been voted best burger in Memphis every year since 1984, and most kid-friendly for more than 30 years. With 10 locations across Memphis and North Mississippi, there's sure to be a Huey's close by. Huey's Restaurants, blues, brews, and burgers for over 55 years.
The best clubs never stand still. Colonial Country Club has been an iconic part of Memphis golf for generations. And today, a multi-million-dollar reinvention is reshaping its future. Members enjoy championship golf and family-focused amenities including pickleball, tennis, swimming, fitness, dining, and a vibrant club calendar. History matters. So does what comes next. Membership opportunities are now available. Visit thenewcolonial.com to learn how you can be a part of Colonial's next chapter.
Hey, I've got Jason, the main man Marshall, on the line from Gossett Hyundai on the Pike. What's up, my man Jason?
What's up, Randy? It's the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event, and we've got deals you won't believe. 2026 Hyundai Elantra SE, $316.01 a month. 2026 Hyundai Sonata SE, only $343.86 a month, plus 0.99 for 60 months and 1.99 for 72 months available. 2026 Hyundai Tucson SE, only $349.61 a month at 1.9 for up to 72 months or 0% for 60 months available.
And every Gossett Hyundai comes with America's best 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty and the owner assurance.
Come see me, the main man Marshall, where we're charging forward and charging less every day at Gossett Hyundai. 1956 Kona Pike, or visit online at HyundaiGossett.com 24/7.
All 36-month Sonata TA 582 MSRP 38,935. Tucson TA 743,800, MSRP 31,350. Elantra TU 165,979, MSRP 25,060. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 895. Excludes tax and license for approved credit. CD for complete details. Offer valid through the month dealers by home.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. But at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited everything for just $35 a line. That's $35 a month for unlimited talk, text, and data. Switch to the carrier ranked #1 in network coverage and customer satisfaction and get unlimited everything for just $35 a month. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit Consumer Cellular online or in-store today. Price includes $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. Taxes and fees apply. Data speeds reduced after 35 gigabytes. Rankings done by 2025 ACSI survey.
This traffic brought to you by Old Dominick Distillery. Come for the spirits, stay for the experience. Cheers to Memphis. Learn more at olddominick.com.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. There's a couple of accidents out here. One is 40 westbound, right before you get to the 101 connector over here before Watkins, going eastbound. It's really heavy also here the last few minutes in that area, passing Warford, Hollywood. A little extra time out here. It's been slow as you make your way south of Memphis, certain sections of 55 down through parts of DeSoto County, where it was already building down an area about 15, 20 minutes ago. Hey, if you're having transmission problems, it's okay. Come to Amco Transmissions, 2 locations right here in Memphis. I'm Commander Chuck. You're on tight traffic.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Landers Ford in Collierville. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you, and we're going to talk to the Commissioner, Greg Sankey, here in a second. I do want to remind you about our great sponsors making this week happen. Bangers Pickleball, Landers Ford in Collierville, Sissy's Log Cabin, Jason's Deli, First National Bank and Trust, Jim's Place in Collierville, Gould's Salon and Spa, Ronnie Grazzani's in Regalia, All-Star Chevrolet in Olive Branch, Jimmy McElroy and Associates, and Capitol Grill. Thank you all so much for making this week happen, but let's not waste any more time. Commissioner Greg Sankey with Brett down at SEC Media Days.
Thank you, Brian. And we are indeed joined by the Commissioner of the SEC, Commissioner Greg Sankey. And Commissioner, let's start with the B word, the breakaway word. You mentioned that, and it broke a lot of things.
I didn't mention it first. I was asked a question. In fact, I've gone back to the transcript because I was asked, is it real that there are discussions about breaking away? And if you're standing at the podium and have to formulate an answer, you can be truthful, you can be deceitful, Or I guess there's probably a third category that I couldn't figure out. And so I decided to say, you know what, people have raised that. That's a real conversation. That's not where our emphasis is. And if you read the transcript, which I know you have, I went through the frustrations that exist with some of the issues in front of us that haven't been dealt with properly. And it raises the question, there must be a better way, isn't there? And part of that is, how do we make better decisions for ourselves? How do we lead other people to make better decisions? And how do we make the NCAA, the association, more effective in its work? That's really what's there. Our focus is on the congressional conversation. We do not spend a lot of time on this notion of breakaway unless I'm asked, which seems to be the topic of the day.
And when it gets mentioned, people hear what they want to hear, and with you in your position in college football, it becomes polarizing.
Oh yeah, it's pretty cool to read the headlines. You go through the end of the day and like, well, what did I say? And like, I just had a conversation with a media member who said that it's really, really serious. Like, that's not even close to what was said. The frustrations are serious. And how do we solve the problems that feed those frustrations? But that doesn't contemplate breaking away. And I'll just expand. I think we understand we have a responsibility in leading college athletics. We're but one voice. The second is people expect March Madness to happen. They like Cinderella stories. That's part of Division I. We have relationships within our states, within governing boards that are more than just the SEC. And so we're attentive to those, but we do have to continue to change. And we have to adapt. It'll make people uncomfortable. We have to adapt to what's in front of us in a way that may not be perfect, but it can minimize some of the litigation, some of the state legislative issues. One of the ways we can improve the environment is with congressional legislation to be introduced and adopted, and we'll see if that's achievable.
What do you say just to this answer, good or bad place? Or it might be more nuanced than that for you. I say we're in a good place in college football. It's never perfect. It never has been. You know, Teddy Roosevelt brought the poobahs of college football to the White House around the turn of the 19th or 20th century to sort things out. We're always sorting things out. Are we in a good or bad place in college football?
I think we're in a good place, but that good place cannot cause complacency. I think we're in a good place within the boundary lines of the game itself. The game on the field, the ability to come together on Saturday and watch high-level competition, the ability for young people to be supported medically, from a mental wellness standpoint, academically, and now economically. But there are problems outside the lines that we can't just go on with an unsustainable financial dynamic. That's not healthy for our campuses. It is an unhealthy academic situation when a person transfers 5 times during their college career. Every time you transfer, you lose credits. You narrow your academic major options, which then influences where you might head career-wise. You don't become part of a community, which we do in the college level. So we have to find a balance. And often in life, the pendulum swings one way after being restrained, and it goes too far, and we needed to come back to the middle.
In the next calendar year, between now about 51 weeks until Nashville next year, will the SEC expand?
No.
And in college football, do you want 12, 16, or 24-team playoff?
That remains to be determined. I identified a set of questions that need to be answered before we make decisions. We've answered, from our perspective, 16 and its workability from a calendar standpoint, from a media standpoint. And then whatever decision is made feeds other decisions. So we need to come to that conclusion soon. But the jury's out on what the right answer is at this point, because we need the right information to make an informed decision.
Will we have a conference championship game going forward in Atlanta?
We're certain to have one in 2026, and an element of the decision is, what is the playoff looking like in 27? An element. That's not the only thing.
December 1's looming, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's the decision date for playoff expansion. So we need to make that decision this fall, and then we can use that information, our first year of 9-game conference schedule, to determine what's next.
your working relationship with the commissioner of the Big Ten, what is it right now? It looked like
I just tried to call him, and he didn't answer my phone because he called me, and I didn't answer his.
He's not sending you a
Literally.
voicemail, is he?
Neither of us wait that long.
That's right. Yeah, no voicemail.
We agree on things, we disagree on things, but we communicate regularly.
That's good. So, and friendly?
Yeah,
very friendly. This year, take me inside how you approach conference championship weekend, not just for the game in Atlanta, but with everything going on with the college football playoff committee and you having the chair, Hunter Yurachek. Do you call him and go, Hunter, you got to get in there and fight for such and such team. You got to fight for that 9-3 team, or do you try to stay out of it or above it or what?
We have an agreed upon responsibility. We communicate through 2 committee members that are designated each year. All of our information goes through them. Hunter receives our information just because he's an athletic director here. There are limits on who can communicate about what, so we go through our 2 committee members. And last year we had 5 teams in, so we're pretty good at it. 5 teams in last year, but it looks like with the 9th game, we could have that log jam of 9-3s. How do they sort that out? I hope they look at who we played and where we played. There are 2 kind of silos that intersect eventually. One is our regular season scheduling decision, which I continue to believe is the right decision, big picture for the Southeastern Conference, our fans, our media agreements, and for high-level competitors who want to be challenged regularly in great venues. We've replaced one non-conference game with a conference game. That then leads me to the next issue, which is separate from our decision about what's right to maintain rivalries, to let our teams see each other every 2 years and home and away every 4 years, which nobody has that experience built in. I think that's good for our football and good for our fans, but it's attached to postseason selection. We didn't have the information that justified expansion to something beyond 16. We were ready to vote yes for 16, which would have been healthy, but we had colleagues that were not. We then have a selection process that's improved, but it still is really based upon the 14 model. And what we have is segments of 14. So we have the top 4, which are generally 11-1, 12-0 teams. System worked well for picking those. Some disagreement, but it usually played out pretty well. Then you have the next 4. Ole Miss was one of those. You get to play a home game, right?
And it was magic.
And then the next 4, some of whom are in, some of whom are not in. Last year, 2 of those next 4 were out because we had 2 teams ranked in the 20s that moved in. That's a problem. And that's before we get in the selection criteria. And we had a session in Destin with our football coaches, ADs, and college football playoff leadership where our people really left with more questions than answers. And so we're working to pursue those questions. How is information used? How is the strength of the schedule, strength of record used? Can a 9-3 team overcome a 10-2 team? That's happened. It may need to happen more. And that will inform our decisions as we look at the future, whether it's the size of the playoff or our own situation.
Next year, week 0, everybody's playing. Are we going to call it week 0 or week 1? And I've been told that we're not going to have anybody going week 0-0. There's not going to be a few games. I think that's Saturday the 21st or so.
I certainly hope not. I think I'm not a cheerleader for the move a week earlier, and I hope that becomes week 1, like week 0. I don't even know what that means.
Nobody counts like
You're
that.
right. And I think the continuing waiver process, it was meant to be a narrow accommodation for a game in Hawaii and some foreign games, which are pretty limited. And then it just populated itself. And I think Labor Day weekend has been a great starting point for college football. But I decided not to be a roadblock in that process. A lot of people wanted that opportunity to build in an extra open week, a bye week. This week people have asked me, like, how do you make your travel schedule? I said, there are 13 weeks. I have 16 teams. So I better get after it is what it means. And that's not the reason you change a policy, like moving from week 1 start Labor Day weekend to week 0 the week before. But I do think there's something to having 2 bye weeks in the season from a health standpoint.
Last thing quickly, may not be conference games on that first week, but do you see conference games Labor Day weekend, that next weekend that's traditionally been week 1? Do you want conference games and to roll out some big guns?
I do, yeah. I think we want to get into the conference schedule. With 9 games, you don't have really a lot of options to not do so. So we'll have some teams that get after it week 2, just as we do this year.
As always, thank you for your time and be safe.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you so much. That's the commissioner of the SEC, Commissioner Greg Sankey, on everything that's going on in the SEC. Our SEC Media Day sponsors are Bangers Pickleball, Right Down, Get Well, at Landers Ford in Collierville, Sissy's Log Cabin, Jason's Deli, First National Bank and Trust, Jim's Place in Collierville, Gould Salon and Spa, Ronnie Grisani's in Regalia, All-Star Chevrolet with our friends down at Drew DePriest Great Dealership in Olive Branch, Jimmy McElroy and Associates, and Capital Grill and Sissy's Log Cabin. They're always with us. Text and talk line always. Golf tournament. Look back at the weekend from the weekend in the SEC. Sissy's Log Cabin always with us. And they will be with us at the golf tournament with all the leaderboard updates and been with us all week this week. Thank you so much to Bill Jones and his great team. Part of the fabric of the community. Supporter of really everything around town, sports and otherwise. Proud supporters of the Tigers and the Grizzlies, and at FedEx Forum with the Floor Seat Lounge, and the official jeweler of the Memphis Grizzlies. 9,000 square foot store in Laurelwood with expanded lines for Rolex, Cartier, diamonds, and more. The Mid-South's largest selection of one-of-a-kind jewelry, engagement rings, wedding bands, necklaces, earrings, and on Monday, all football season at 4:30, we'll look back at the weekend in the Southeastern Conference, brought to you by Sissy's Log Cabin. They offer a selection of diamonds, estate jewelry, and fine gifts with all the great locations since 1970 across the Mid-South. Unsurpassed value, exceptional service, expansive selection, and an extraordinary shopping experience, because life's too short for ordinary jewelry.
Well, some really interesting stuff from the commissioner, Greg Sankey. If you missed any of that great interview, we'll have that up a little bit later on featured audio. So check back in about an hour or so, and we should have that up on featured audio if you missed any of it with the commissioner, Greg Sankey. I did think it was interesting what he had to say about the move a week earlier for the start of the college football season, how he was opposed to that, but did not want to get in the way of it, and that he would like to see some SEC games, and we'll see SEC games in what would be this year's week 1 going forward. So definitely some interesting things there. But Brett told you about all of our great sponsors this week at SEC Media Days. Let me remind you, because we are getting closer to the dinner hour, but you got to keep them in mind for lunch as well. It's the first name in Memphis Italian food. It's Ronnie Grisani's in Regalia for lunch. Make sure you stop in and get the Italian favorites like the crisp, cold Miss Mary's salad, the lobster tower, fried green tomatoes, the crab stack. Monday through Saturday for lunch, Ronnie Grisani's also offers catering. Check out the lunch catering guide at ronniegrisani.com. Get the Elfo special salad and Italian bread, all just $14 per person. Ronnie Grisani's, they'll even bring it to you. Give them a call, 901-850-0191. Pick up a pan of lasagna at Ronnie Grisani's at Regalia, or check out the bulk menu at ronniegrisani.com. Get your favorites at home like the chicken Alfredo, ravioli, Italian spinach, curbside pickup, or delivery to your door free within 4 miles of Regalia. And right now, don't forget about the bar. You can stay cool with their great cocktail list. And while you're there, try one of the steaks like the 8-ounce gorgonzola and bacon-wrapped filet. Try it and thank me later. You can also find them in High Point Grocery, Super Low on Spotswood and Goodman Road, and Buster's Liquors. Make lunch or dinner easy at Ronnie Grisani's, a Memphis tradition since 1909. Well, let's get to another break, and when we return, it'll be time for Big Number of the Day.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Chris Price here with Metro Builders Roofing and Restoration. We've seen days, even what seems like weeks of soaking rain, damaging hail, and even flooding. So today, do one simple thing. Look up. If you see a water stain, bubbling paint, or discoloration on your ceiling, don't ignore it. What starts as a small roof leak can quickly become mold, turning a minor problem into a major expense. At Metro Builders Memphis, our professionals will inspect your roof, assess any storm damage, help mitigate further damage. We'll measure your roof from outer space and guide you through the repair or replacement process with an estimate on site with multiple options at that. Don't let them tell you your roof needs to be replaced when all it may need is some love. We'll give you an honest assessment so you can make the right decision for your home and family. At Metro Builders Memphis, call me, 901-375-1717. That's 901-375-1717, or simply book your appointment online at metrobuildersmemphis.com.
It's time to get your backyard ready for the ultimate pool party with a little help from Family Leisure. If you've been sitting on the fence about taking the plunge with a pool, now's the time to take the dive. You want an above-ground pool? Done. Starting at $39.99, and that's with installation. You want an in-ground pool? Take your pick. They start at under $50,000. Accessorize that pool with a patio furniture set starting at just $9.99. Outdoor sectionals, they start at $12.99. In fact, all in-stock patio furniture sets are priced to move. And with select patio furniture sets, you'll get a free umbrella and base. Okay, you aren't looking to get into a pool just yet? Family Leisure has hot tubs that start at just $34.99. Get in shape or stay in shape with a swim spa starting at $16,999. Get your backyard, front yard, side yard, whatever, ready for fun. Family Leisure, Whitten Road at I-40, where family and fun come together.
O'Reilly. Stay cool this summer with AC Pro and O'Reilly Auto Parts. Right now, receive a $20 O'Reilly Auto Parts gift card after rebate with the purchase of a select AC Pro ready-to-use refrigerant kit that includes a hose and gauge. The advanced formula works quickly to seal common vehicle air conditioner leaks. Beat the heat at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
It's time for SEC Media Days. Join Brett Norsworthy as he broadcasts live from Tampa Monday through Thursday, previewing the upcoming SEC football season and brings you interviews with players, coaches, and SEC insiders. Tune into Sports Time with Stats and Bryant Dacus from 3 to 6, and also hear from Stats throughout the day for SEC Media Days coverage on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Brought to you by First National Bank and Trust, Jason's Deli, Gould's Salon and Spa, Jim's Place in Collierville, and All-Star Chevrolet in Olive Branch.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Landers Ford in Collierville. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
And she says,
Big Daddy.
Hello, Big Brand. It's a guy, he wants to be big, then he gets big, he doesn't want to be big anymore, then he gets small, but the suit's too big.
Big Daddy.
The big boy. You're a big guy. I think she's trying to pull a fast one on Big Daddy.
The big number of the day.
Well, Brett, my big number today is the number 5, and we're going to make a jump over to Major League Baseball again for my big number. It has to do with Boston Red Sox starter Jake Bennett in his last 5 starts. Now, I think he is supposed to throw in one of the games today. I can't remember if he threw in the first one or if he's supposed to throw in the second game. So this number might be outdated, but it is a good big number, so I'm going to use it anyway. In his last 5 starts, Jake Bennett has thrown 33 innings. He's allowed 3 runs, and he has a 6.25 K to walk ratio. The only rookies in the modern era, which as we know is since 1900, to achieve those marks or better over a 5-start span are Roy Oswalt in 2001 and Harry Krause in 1909. What do you got on Harry Krause, Brett?
No, I have nothing. Nothing on Harry Krause.
Absolutely nothing either.
I got nothing on Harry. My big number is 52. That's the number of wins the last 5 years for the Ole Miss Rebels. Number 1 in the SEC is Georgia in the last 5 years with 65. 2's Alabama with 56. Ole Miss third with that 52. Tennessee fourth with 45. LSU, they're in with fifth at 42. Mizzou sixth with 41. A&M seventh with 39. 16 by Vandy 16th with 26, and that's in the good years.
That's in the good years.
Auburn 15th with 27. Shocking that in the last 5 years Auburn's won 27 football games. Look, everybody's talking about the sustainability at Ole Miss and what can Pete do after Lane, and can Trinidad, was it one-hit wonder? I know a lot of people pulling for Ole Miss, and I know a lot aren't. Ole Miss is here to stay.
No, yeah, it definitely feels like they are. I mean, again, we've talked a little bit about them already. We'll talk more about them at about 5:30. But, to have that type of move where your head coach leaves and goes to another school in the SEC, and you're able to return a lot of your players, including your star quarterback and your star running back, that speaks a lot about not only Pete Golding, but it speaks a lot about where this program is right now, and those players wanting to stay at Ole Miss, be a part of that program. And so, yeah, it definitely feels like it's not going anywhere. It's here to stay.
I know I mentioned it with Greg and Eli. I just really like people that know who they are, that are very comfortable with who they are. And easiest person on earth to be is yourself.
That's right.
And Pete Golding, he's always had that, but he also knows now is his moment, and he has been called for this moment. He was called for it on Friday night of Thanksgiving weekend when the whole world was spinning around, and I didn't know who was going to be the coach for the playoff run or into 2026. And Keith Carter, he moved quickly and named him the permanent head coach. And look what it led to. It led to keeping the retention of all the players, going out and recruiting, getting in the portal, winning 2 playoff games, a narrow loss in the college football semifinals, good in the second signing period, good in the spring. Pete Golding's had a good run, but he's got to go out and take it to the field opening day. And he talks about Louisville more than anyone. He's not talking September 19th. Everybody else is.
Yeah, but hey, that first one, that's the most important one for the Ole Miss Rebels. Now, Brett, I've been sitting on this, and I've been wanting to ask this. We've been busy this hour, obviously, with the commissioner in our last segment. How in the world did you find Muzzy Donahue and that he was in this weekend's field?
Well, I was just looking down that list, and the name popped out because we all love Pat so much, and just kind of any familiar name, I kind of look at, and I saw that, and then I clicked on it. I thought, well, it just said M. Donahue. And then I saw Muzzy. Good luck, Muzzy. Go out there and win it all this weekend.
And I guess why I asked that is because I guess I have mine sorted to OWGR. That's usually how I have it when we make our picks, even though that didn't matter this weekend. Muzzy Donahue, 25 years old, not ranked in either OWGR or the rankings. 25 years old out there.
Muzzy's never won any money in a 1 o'clock Nassau.
But good luck to him this weekend. We will definitely be
go get that 2-year exemption.
That's right. Go get him, Muzzy. Good luck to him. But we need to get back to some SEC. We need to get to a break. We'll do that in a second. Let me remind you about our sponsors: Bangers Pickleball, Landers Ford in Collierville, Sissy's Log Cabin, Jason's Deli, First National Bank and Trust, Jim's Place in Collierville, Gould's Salon and Spa, Ronnie Grisani's in Regalia, All-Star Chevrolet and Olive Branch, Jimmy McElroy and Associates, and Capital Grill. Don't go anywhere. We're wrapping up hour number 2. When we return, we're talking Alabama. Ryan Fowler from 100.9 The Game in Tuscaloosa. He joins us next.
Did you miss your favorite Sports 56 show? No! Check out the podcast, broken down hourly at sports56whbq.com or wherever you get your podcasts. Be sure to like and subscribe. Never miss any Sports 56 show again with our podcasts available daily from Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Since 1948, in the Alley, the Rendezvous. I'm with John Burgos. John, what's going on in the Rendezvous?
Brett, there's some things about the Rendezvous I want to talk about. For example, we make it really easy to park. We have valet parking right at Monroe Street in our alley. We also want to make it easy for people to get to-go orders. You can now park in our alley right at our front door and put your flashers on. People also forget that we take reservations for 6 or more. And we have a wonderful party room upstairs that can accommodate people for rehearsal dinners, birthday parties, reunions, graduations. Our rooms seat between 25 and 200 275 people. And everything at the Rendezvous can be packed to go. Brett, we also do catering. See our menu online, and we can even deliver for groups of 15 or more. So if you have any questions, always feel free to call us at the Rendezvous because we answer our phone ourselves. You'll never hear, please listen carefully for our menu has changed. Press 1 for reservations, press 2 for hours, press 3 for catering, or if you know your party's 9-digit extension number and the first 3 letters of their mother's maiden name, dial it now. Come see us at the Rendezvous.
Since 1948, the Rendezvous.
Hi, this is Troy Five-Ash, owner of Five-Ash Roof Services. I wanted to take a minute and discuss advertising with you. There are so many websites that list the best service provider in your area. Even the BBB has an accredited list. You know the one thing they all have in common? A company like mine has to pay to get on that list. So that begs the question, can those lists be trusted? You know what can be trusted? History. We've been around for almost 30 years providing customers with the best service and the best products that we possibly can. So if you need a roof, siding, or gutters, give us a call. We'll come talk to you and let you decide for yourself whether or not we know what we're talking about. Five-Ash Roof Services. Best products, best warranties, and in many cases, the best price. We're fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or MemphisRoofer.com. 367-0050 or MemphisRoofer.com.
Five-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
This is Sheldon Rosengarten with Marks Bensdorf Realtors, and I may be Mr. Three-Putt and known as the worst golfer in town, but I do sell some houses for people. There are 7 keys to selling your home quickly for a really good price. First, call or email me to find out about my highly successful strategic marketing program that can help you sell your home quickly at a good price. I guide people what to do and what not to do to prepare to beat your competition. I mentioned 7 keys. Well, if you call me first, you don't need the other 6. Find out why people often say that when you want the job done, call Sheldon. I may be the horrible golfer that people talk about, but I don't fool around when it involves your biggest investment. I'm here to provide answers and good advice to help you. You can reach me at 483-0546 or email me at shellrose@memphisrelocate.com. That's right, relocate is in my name. That's shellrose@memphisrelocate.com or 483-0546.
Hello, I'm Ford Canale of Canale Funeral Directors. For more than a century, the Canale family has been honored to serve Memphis families during life's most difficult moments. In fact, Canale Funeral Directors is proud to be the oldest continually operating business in Memphis, built on a tradition of compassion, dignity, and personal service. When a family places their trust in us, we understand it's about much more than arrangements. It's about celebrating a life, honoring cherished memories, and providing comfort when it's needed most. Whether you're planning ahead or facing an immediate need, our experienced and caring staff is here to guide you every step of the way. From our family to yours, thank you for allowing us to serve generations of Memphis families with the respect and attention they deserve. Canale Funeral Directors, quietly caring since 1843.
This traffic brought to you by Old Dominick Distillery. Come for the spirits, stay for the experience. Cheers to Memphis. Learn more at olddominick.com.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. Cranking it pretty good now. Trying to get out of Midtown on 240, especially southbound as you come past Union all the way down to Norris as that volume of traffic increases over here as you come all 240 on the Billmores Parkway going outbound. That's only going to get busier headed out towards Collierville. Hey, bridal season is here. Shop local. You'll be glad you did because you'll save money at Weimer's Jewelry, 7525 Highway 64. I'm Commander Chuck. You're on time traffic.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis with John Harden. Weekdays from 11 to 1. Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Dobbs Brothers Chevrolet at 7450 Highway 64 in Bartlett. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Come with me now. Come with me now.
We're back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you as we start our third and final hour. It's day 3 at SEC Media Days. Alabama, Florida, Ole Miss, and Texas A&M all took the podium today. We've talked 2 of those teams, Florida and Texas A&M. We've got to talk a third, and joining Brett down in Tampa right now, Ryan Fowler from 100.9 The Game in Tuscaloosa. He's with Brett.
Thank you, Bryant. Back at Radio Row, having a fun time. We got Ryan Fowler right now with us to talk all things the Crimson Tide. Alabama last year in the playoffs, and we really look forward always to seeing Ryan Fowler from down in Tuscaloosa. Ryan, how's it going?
Man, it's good to be back. It's good to have another year. You know, I feel like it's been a long off season for Alabama fans. You know, Indiana kind of put a sour taste in your mouth, and unfortunately, this has been a little longer off season than Alabama fans have been expected. Spring football got us a little bit, but I've talked way too much politics on a sports show in Tuscaloosa, which, you know, I don't mind doing. But the inner workings of the NIL, possibly some legislation, that stuff is really boring to most of our audience members. They want to go back.
I'm
to
sick
the
off the field.
Me too.
I'm ready for pad popping.
That's why it's like this week's a celebration. This week is a celebration because we get back to talking about football, which we love.
Because, Ryan, the off season is very cruel to college football, and usually it's May is always cruel because we're so far removed from last year. The next year seems forever away, and then now this is the countdown to when we get on the field. They don't, but it feels like all our problems go away.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully. And listen, to go back to Washington, D.C. for just a second, I have no faith in Washington, D.C. Zero. Like, if they wanted to manage Radio Row, do you think they could pull this thing off?
I wouldn't manage to change that light.
Well, yeah, and so, because it would take 9 of them to figure out, let's vote which bulb. And it just gets caught up, and they're always looking out for themselves. This year, they're listening to college football. Do you know why they're listening to college football? This is election year. They'll listen to us then.
And college football matters that much, too.
Sure. But come, November the 15th, we'll go be back into putting us on hold to the next time they need us. That's what political leaders do. Republican, Democrat, Libertarian, Independent. It doesn't matter. They don't give a darn about college football. They're just wanting our vote, and they go, you're trying, because it's such a college football matters to so many different people.
They love us in even-numbered years.
Great point.
And
absolutely. Great point.
Then in odd-numbered years, they forget us. Ryan, I don't know if you got to throw a bouquet at Crimson Tide fans, but Indiana did that to a lot of people last year.
They did, and it was a little bit of a shock to me. I think it was a shock to a lot of people because, I've got my old Phil Steele guide. I think he had him in the 20s. If you look at Lindy's, he had him in the 20s. Most people didn't have this team ranked as far as up there competing for a championship. It's hard to predict that. I think this really explains what college football is. I don't think we've ever seen the parity. And teams like Indiana that took advantage of the age, I think they were able to beat teams. I always love to ask these former players, hey, whether it's Mike Johnson or even like a Barrett Jones that lives here in your area. So
love both of those guys. Okay. You know that.
So if I asked Barrett Jones, I said, Barrett Jones, let me ask you as a senior going up against Barrett Jones as a freshman.
What's a grown man? Going to get up against a youngster.
I just ask them to look back on their career early on. And I'm going to do it this afternoon.
19 and the difference between a 19-year-old and a 24-year-old is real difference.
There is a huge difference. And I love
man muscles.
I love talking to Martin Houston about blocking Derek Thomas. And he said said as a freshman, a scout team, he had to try to block him.
Good luck.
And he said, but it made him a better player. Right. He said, it's always fun to relive those memories of freshman days. Well, really, if you look back at Alabama had a lot of youth. And Indiana took advantage of it because this team, the freshmen can play in this league. They can make an impact, especially now, probably more than ever. But the problem is they wear out. And DeBoer had a team right before Georgia because it was self-inflicted. Florida State game put them in a bad spot where they didn't have any margin of error. And they had to go on this big, long winning streak to try to reestablish. Then they lose to Oklahoma. And then it's like, okay, now you got to kick it back in. Well, the problem is they were injured. They were beat up. I mean, going into the Georgia game, I think there was like 13 players that did not practice that week. I think 7 of them still had to play. And they were out a ton of guys. And they lost a couple during the game. Had no running backs, had a running back that was starter. He had a shoulder situation. He couldn't even lift his shoulder up to catch the ball. Everybody's like, what did he do? Well, nobody knew that the shoulder injury till after the season. It's like, oh, no, he was dealing with a major shoulder injury. Not that it was going to hurt it even more, but that's what they did. I mean, they ran up against a buzzsaw by the name of Indiana.
They did. We mentioned Mike Johnson and Barrett Jones. Barrett has told the story to me a lot. That first spring under Coach Saban, Scott Cochran, whole new staff in, Mike Johnson, a holdover player from 2 years with Mike Shula, and then 2 or 3 years with Coach Saban, and played in the NFL. And he said every workout, they called them the puke buckets, would just get filled. And he said the workouts were brutal.
I love those stories. I love going back because, you think about the dynasty. You think about the way that it was built. It was built on foundation. And, a lot of people, they will accuse Nick Saban. Well, Nick Saban cheated. He did this. He did this. He did. Let me tell you what Nick Saban did.
Sore losers.
Let me tell you what Nick Saban did. He literally outworked you. How do I know? Brett, I would go by, and you can call me a media member, you can call me a spy, but there's a restaurant that's not too far away from the football building. I get off at 6 o'clock every evening. So it's 6 o'clock Central Time. And I would go by, and let's say I'd stop by the grocery store, and I'd stop by this great restaurant that's founded in Oxford, Mississippi, that we've got one right there on campus, one of our big sponsors. And I would go by, and this would probably be 8:30, 9 o'clock. I just cruise by the football building.
Lights burning.
Oh, and sometimes I'd test it just to see how long it'd be. It would be 10 or 11 o'clock. Now, listen, I'm not talking about November and October. I'm talking about the off season. The Mercedes was still there. The black Mercedes was still there in Nick Saban's spot.
grind.
And all of his assistant coaches were there too. That is the part. And if you talk to these assistant
And if
coaches,
they weren't there, they could find another job.
Oh, no. And that's why a bunch of them, couldn't make it because of the demands. Hearing Nick Saban tell Christmas stories, Christmas Day, he's getting ready to get ready to play a game. And he says, hey, I'm in the office and I can't find anybody. He gave them like 4 or 5 hours off to put bicycles up.
Yeah.
Okay. So he called a staff meeting at like 5 o'clock on Christmas Day. Okay. Because he's getting ready to play a major game, a major playoff game. And he was real frustrated that it was taking a little bit too, them bicycles trying to put together bicycles and toys and stick A and a B and tighten with a C and all those instructions. He wanted them in there. You understand it was Christmas, but they had a football game. But he didn't do anything that he didn't ask the others to do. He was already there.
The bar, he set it high, and he got over it, and he expected everybody else to get over it. And with that, we're telling Coach Saban stories. I don't think we've said the words Kalen DeBoer yet. We've already talked about Coach Saban. We're going to be talking about Coach Saban, or the people we won't, in 100 years. And that's been some of the, not frustration, but some of the natural aggravation. It had to be 2 years after him. I can remember the 2 years after Ray Perkins, and the 2 years after Coach Saban have been better than Ray Perkins' first 2 years after Coach Bryant.
Well, listen, Kalen DeBoer, this is the part that you have to respect about Kalen DeBoer. He has come in and said, you know what? Coach Saban was one coach. He did it his way. I have to do it my way. And I love to feature the guys from Sioux Falls, and I love to feature them from Fresno, and I love to feature them from UW. Because when they describe it, it's like, okay, it's the same way. He's not changed because he's the University of Alabama head coach. You do have to adjust. But you don't have to change who you are. He's still a personable person. He builds authentic relationships, not just with media members, but with players, assistant coaches. Now, listen, there's a fire in that belly, but he coaches a different way. And I'm not exactly sure. Now, listen, Nick Saban would have had to adjust in this NIL transfer portal because you couldn't stock a 5-star. A 5-star wasn't going to wait 3 years.
No, you don't have any depth because of it.
Right. And so he's had to adjust to that. But Alabama fans, to me, are dealing with a big adjustment in college football, but they're dealing with one of the biggest, you've taught me this, it's the biggest replacement in the history of sports. Ever. And listen, he raised his hand and said, I'll do it.
I'll run toward the fire.
Yeah, I'm going to be the guy. I will be the guy. I will be the guy. And listen, 6 months ago, well, maybe a little bit longer, 7 months ago, he was offered a parachute out of town. 2 different jobs wanted him. Penn State wanted him. Unfortunately, I brought the reporter on, had no clue what he was going to say. Literally came in and said, well, they're going to give him a blank check. And they're going to give him another little bit of a blank check and say, this is your NIL fund. And he had no interest in Penn State. He had to state that multiple times. And then here comes Michigan coming. Now, obviously, Michigan had chaos, and that would have been a storm to get into with itself with that athletic department. Thank God he didn't, from him personally. But he chose not to. So there's something that he believes that he is getting done at Alabama that's going to pay off. Will it pay off in a national title? Will it pay off in 6 and 17? No. But there's a chance for this team to compete. I don't think Alabama is this team that you look at. If you went through all 16 teams and you ask about the offensive line, there's an offensive line question at a lot of different places.
Oh, yeah. LSU, Texas A&M.
Well, because of the portal. I think it impacts the position. So if
it's free agency. That's what ruined continuity in the NFL. Jerry Jones and Jimmy Johnson win more titles if they don't have all the free agency in those offensive lines.
So you cannot build, and it's a development position. You can play at running back as a freshman. You can play wide receiver as a freshman. But when you're trying to find a way to establish 5 guys and be on the same page, that's probably the hardest challenge.
It's got to be a symphony.
It's got to be. I mean, but then you got to bring in all these new bodies, and you got to be able to do it and be able to get these guys on the same page. Obviously, Alabama's offensive line was just embarrassing, last year. But, you had Caden Proctor, and you look at him and you say, well, he's a first rounder. Well, he's a first rounder because he finally got serious about losing weight. He's about 45, 50 pounds from where he played. Down. I mean, there's a reason why guys don't play at 370.
I thought the effort was poor some, and that goes to depth. You can't threaten them with, I'm going to play your backup, and you don't have one, and then everybody was ready to head to the portal. And Coach Saban, and that's what made Coach Saban so different. The Tuesday, Wednesday practices made everybody so much better because of all the depth.
Absolutely. Iron sharpens iron. And that's a part when you look at the running backs, everybody talks about with the backs, they did wear out, but as far as injuries wise, I mean, they didn't have enough. And so think about the control that, okay, I mean, in our job, not that we would, but if we had no other options and your boss had no other options, anybody that's out there listening, would you put it on cruise control for 30 minutes, maybe an hour? Would you take off an hour early on a Friday afternoon because you knew that you were irreplaceable?
I'm too scared to.
Well, because there's too many in our business. I mean, we have depth guys, right? I mean, but in your position, whatever it would be out there listening, it's human nature to take the foot
check
off
out
a little bit. Okay, on a Friday afternoon. Mm-hmm. Well, the problem is the depth, and this is anywhere: Ole Miss, Arkansas, Tennessee, Alabama. Your second string, if they believe they can play, they are gone. And now teams are picking apart. Alabama's got a roster.
We have a mercenary player now.
We do. Yeah. And so that I think is
pay for play, hired guns.
And I'm still trying to figure out, all right, name, image, and likeness. What product are you endorsing? Because I've never got a check on a radio, and we do a lot of endorsements. You'll do a bunch right here at Media Days, and you'll read off a script. But do you ever get paid? Let's just say you go to the mailbox and there's a check and you get paid, but you don't know what you're endorsing yet?
No, I haven't.
I love to ask these guys, like, okay, so you're getting this money, but what are you endorsing?
Right.
It's easy to get
themselves.
It's easy to get Patrick Mahomes because they'll put in a contract because they have to clear the clearinghouse. They'll put a contract and they'll put the signings of autograph signings. Well, you can get Patrick Mahomes cheaper than you can a college player, because they'll literally do like 2 autograph signings. Well, you paid him $1.1 million, so Patrick Mahomes doesn't charge $1.1 million to do 2 autograph signings.
No.
So it's cheaper to get him, but it's the world of chaos that we live in, and the motivation. But listen, Alabama, they've got a chance to be very, very special. I'm sure we'll get into it. I think they've got a pretty decent team.
Starting on defense, I think tomorrow when we vote on last day, I'm going to vote Bama 4th, 10-2, and make the playoffs.
Okay, and here I'm going to make your argument for you.
Okay,
you start 5-0. You start 5-0. I mean, I don't think there's any way. You beat East Carolina, you go to Kentucky, you take on a new head coach, you come back, you play Florida State. And I'm going off memory. My glasses is not well, but Florida State,
South Carolina,
Mississippi State on the road.
It's 5-0, and there's no 10-2 scenario without that being 5-0.
Yeah, if you lose one of those, now you got to put more pressure. But then you got the middle. The middle 4 is what I call it. And you got Georgia. Okay, let's skip the middle 4. Let's go to the back 3. At Vanderbilt should be a win.
Chattanooga
and Auburn. There's 3. Plus the 5 is 8 for the Auburn fans in the back of the room. That's 8. Okay, let's get to 10. If you split the middle and you got Georgia at home, Texas
A&M,
Tennessee, I think, is on the road.
It is.
And then Texas A&M, and then you got to go to LSU. You should be able to split that at some way. That's 2 and 2, and then you got 10.
You're there, and maybe Atlanta. I don't think Atlanta, because I think there will be a couple one-loss teams, like
but you
3 or 4.
This is the problem. The only problem that I can identify, you cannot lose to the teams that you're not supposed to lose to.
You can't stumble at Lexington in week 2.
No. I mean, yeah. And so you got to go beat these guys on the road. You got to play a little bit physical brand of football. The defense is going to be a lot deeper. The defensive line has got about 8 to 9 bodies that you can rotate through. And they've also added players like Devon Tompkins from USC, Terrence Green from Oregon, a little bit bigger defensive lineman. You know, Kirby in Indiana, Georgia, Indiana, they kind of laid it on Alabama, running the football right at them. And Alabama wasn't big enough to stop that. Well, they've adjusted. They've adjusted on the defensive side of the football. And then the offensive line's more of the athletic type that they want. If you look back at Kalen DeBoer, people don't remember this, but Joe Moore is a top offensive line award. It went to UW his final season. So he knows how to build an offensive line. You look, they're not the big, they are big, but they're not Alabama big like last year. They're not, you know, like the overweight offensive linemen. Just so they're going to a little bit more athletic because they want their guys out in space. If you look at a screen, it's going to be a big part of Alabama's offense. And I think they finally got the personnel to run a little bit more of the system. They've had to adjust to 2 different quarterbacks, Jalen Milroe and Ty Simpson. Ty did an amazing job. But this guy coming in, and whoever it will be, it's a Kalen DeBoer initial recruit. He identified him and said, you can play in our system. I think Alabama's going to be better.
Who's it going to be?
Well, if you stuck a gun to my head and I see one over there in your pocket,
No.
I would say Keelan Russell.
Look where I have him ranked in my quarterbacks. See it right there?
Okay, so okay.
I think he has a big year.
Well,
there's always one quarterback that we don't talk enough about down here that has that big year. You could say Blake Sims. You sure could say Trinidad last year. Heck, you could go back to Johnny Manziel. We didn't talk about Johnny Manziel 35 seconds at media days, and he goes out and puts on one of the all-time shows. We did talk about Joe Burrow and Jaden Daniels, but not in Heisman Trophy tones. Look what they've done. I think Keelan Russell is the guy that at the end of the year, we didn't talk near enough about him way back in July in Tampa.
All right, so when you look at Russell, and you can record this and you can play it, the good thing about him, and with an offensive line that's still going to be growing, I mean, you can't just snap 5 guys in. You replace everybody except one starter. And you got some guys that were there. So when you bring in 4 new players and you're trying to build all that continuity there, you need a quarterback that can extend the plays, that can move outside of the pocket. Keelan Russell can do that. That's where he's got the advantage. Austin Mack is a great thrower inside the pocket. He can really hum it. He knows the offense in and out, every which way that you can possibly know it. But the problem that he has is when you push him out of the pocket, his ability to throw accuracy really decreases once you move him outside of the pocket. That's the advantage that Keelan Russell, and the ceiling is so much higher.
What's a loss that could get the fans really all over Kalen DeBoer early? Anything in September?
Well, I mean, maybe South Carolina. I mean, you mentioned Kentucky on the road. I don't think that's going to happen. Mississippi State on the road. But like the Georgia would be forgiving, sure. But listen.
But it is at home.
But you ask Georgia fans, they're just as concerned because, you know, Kalen DeBoer's got a winning record against Kirby Smart.
Kirby has a thing going against Bama. He does.
I mean, it's something that he coaches different. And he did with Coach Saban.
I used to think it was looking on that other sideline and seeing Nick Saban.
And then DeBoer.
But it might just be that red helmet.
It could be. It could be. But listen, Alabama, you can't think. Listen, everybody talks about Indiana and how they would love to play them. They got embarrassed in the trenches. The scoreboard wasn't as bad, but they got embarrassed against Georgia. They remember that.
Yeah.
And physically, like I said, they were injured. But listen, they're competitors too. I think Georgia is a winnable football game for Alabama. And if you win that, think about if you're 6-0, go into Tennessee.
You got a couple mulligans. You got a couple losses.
Texas A&M could be a trap game because you play all those games in a row. Then Texas A&M, then the bye week before you go to LSU. That's a long grind in this league, but everybody's got to do it. We don't have the double bye, and I missed the double bye.
And the A&M game, that's the Gene Stallings and Coach Bryant Bowl.
And it's homecoming.
But it sure is.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's crazy. And you'll be.
We're not mentioning Franchione, another one that coached at both places.
Who was he again?
Yeah.
What was his?
Pittsburgh State coach, Dennis Franchione. Wow, that guy.
I worked for him for 1 year.
I know you did.
And he was nice.
Yeah.
He just couldn't handle the heat of Alabama.
Stick in the mud, just out of place.
Yeah, it was out of place.
I bet he regretted ever leaving TCU.
Probably.
That was probably a good fit for him, but everything else after that. Ryan, thank you.
But I'm gonna tell you that I think Kalen DeBoer, and we'll visit next summer in
we'll visit during the fall.
But I think he's going to be a long-term success at Alabama. Will he be there 17 years? I don't know. But will
you think it'll look more like Coach Stallings' tenure?
Maybe. I mean, I've never really asked him about the NFL, if that's a dream of his, but I think he is embracing being the University of Alabama coach. I see him becoming more comfortable in his skin. And that's what I've noticed, the change. And you'll see it tomorrow compared to the first day he walked in here. There's a different swagger. Brett, it's always good to talk to you.
Ryan, great to visit with you. We'll visit in the fall. Ryan Fowler from down in Tuscaloosa on Radio Row with us. Our SEC Media Day sponsors are Bangers Pickleball, Landers Ford in Collierville, Sissy's Log Cabin, Jason's Deli, First National Bank and Trust, Jim's Place in Collierville, Gould Salon and Spa, Ronnie Grisani's in Regalia, All-Star Chevrolet in Olive Branch, Jimmy McElroy and Associates, and Capitol Grill. And at All-Star Chevrolet, July is the best month to drive to the mountains, to the sea, to anywhere in America, from sea to shining sea. And the best month to come down to All-Star Chevy and pick out any new Silverado you want. Olive Branch, it's where all the Silverados are. And listen to this, no interest for 5 years, no payments until around Halloween. Your good credit, you deserve it. Military and first responders, an instant extra $500 bonus. How about a new Traverse with a third row seat? They have them. For all your commercial and fleet needs, All-Star is the top-rated business elite dealer in our area with express cargo and passenger vans. They have them. Check out the huge, and I mean really huge, pre-owned section with the Equinox, Tahoes, Traverse, Suburbans, and so many Silverados. If you have any vehicle you want to sell, bring it to All-Star, and you'll get the most money back for it. Don't miss the best sale of summer event going on now in Olive Branch at All-Star Chevrolet. For more information, you can always go to allstarautogroup.com.
Well, a really interesting interview there with Brett and Ryan, and they talked a lot about this schedule this year for the Crimson Tide. I mentioned it earlier in the show that it felt like when Kalen DeBoer was taking questions earlier today, that a lot of the questions, or at least a handful of the questions, were kind of pointed at, kind of, are you the right coach for this job? We know, with all the success under Nick Saban, there is that question of, can anybody reach that level? And, is Kalen DeBoer the guy that can do that? Definitely some questions with the offensive line. He addressed that earlier today when taking questions, saying that he really liked the offensive line, the pieces that they brought in a lot of pieces that have played different places. And so he feels good about them. And then the quarterback battle. We know that will be a big question going into the year again. And who is going to start for them? But hey, that's not only their question. There's a couple of teams that have to answer that question. Well, I got to remind you that this 5 o'clock hour, it's brought to you each and every afternoon by Dobbs Brothers Chevrolet. The Dobbs family, an old established name, is back in the car business in Memphis. Dobbs Brothers Chevrolet, located at 7850 Highway 64 in Bartlett, offering a full selection of new Chevrolets and quality used cars to meet every need and budget. Head out there and check out the beautiful new vehicles like the 2026 Chevy Silverado 1500 with its Turbo Max engine, off-road capabilities, and that advanced in technology on the interior. While you're there, take a look at the 2026 Chevy Traverse and the 2026 Chevy Equinox. At Dobbs Brothers Chevrolet, it's fully transparent pricing, no hidden fees, no games, and they cover all your needs with their service department. Dobbs Brothers Chevrolet welcomes you to a new way of providing excellent customer service. Head out there today to Dobbs Brothers Chevrolet in Bartlett at 7850 Highway 64. Open Monday through Saturday from 8:30 a.m. to 7 p.m. You can go online, check those vehicles out at DobbsBrothersChevy.com, but make sure you get out there in person, test drive them today at Dobbs Brothers Chevrolet Chevrolet of Bartlett. Well, we're going to get to a break here in just a second. We've got to talk a lot more. We got one more team to talk about today. We've talked about 3 of them. Now we've got to talk about the final team. It is the Ole Miss Rebels. Neil McCready from 247 Sports. He joins us next.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Take your basketball skills to the next level at Shoot 360 Memphis. Shoot 360 is a revolutionary basketball training facility that combines cutting-edge technology with gamification and provides instant, objective feedback with hands-on, one-on-one expert coaching. And now, introducing Shoot 360 Cordova, a newly renovated 50,000 square foot facility with 2 NBA regulation-size courts, 3 high school-size courts, and 4 shooting bays with Shoot 360 technology. Memberships are now on a monthly basis. And yes, you can become a member at both locations. Whether you're an aspiring young talent, NBA player, or looking for a unique workout, all skill levels are welcome at Shoot 360 Memphis to learn proper shooting and passing techniques, improve fundamentals, and gain a competitive edge while having fun. Shoot 360 Memphis, now in Cordova and Collierville. Call them today at 901-779-3176. That's 901-779-3176. The future of basketball training is here. Shoot 360 Memphis.
Rick's Powder Coating for a beautiful finish every time. Rick's Powder Coating specializes in automotive, ornamental, residential, and industrial coating. With 2 conveyor lines and the largest batch ovens in the Mid-South, Rick's can accommodate all of your powder coating needs. Locally owned and operated since 2002, Rick's Powder Coating will customize a beautiful finish just for you. Drop by or call to see how Rick's Powder Coating can bring color to your life. 901-367-2771 or rickspowdercoating.com.
Check it out. Central Barbecue has an app.
Hey, let me see it.
Don't just grab somebody's phone. Jeez.
Oh, okay, then just show it to me.
See?
Oh, wow. Simple, straightforward.
I know. Just tap on the Central Barbecue app, and you can order from any Central Barbecue.
Oh, they've got all 4 locations. They got downtown, Poplar, Summer, and even South Haven.
Yep. Place your order on the Central Barbecue app, and it'll be ready when you arrive. Your food will be ready in 10 minutes, and there are no extra fees for using the app.
Now, that is a sweet deal.
It is a sweet deal.
Hey, I've got him on the line right now. Marty McNate. Marty, I hear you got some exciting deals over there at Gossett Volkswagen Germantown.
You heard right, Randy. I got a 2026 Jetta S, 40 mpg highway estimate, $249 a month.
$249 a month for Jetta S. Hey, what else you got out there, McNate?
If you love a great deal on an SUV, you gotta love the 2026 Tiguan 2.0 TS, $269 a month.
I know I'm loving Tiguan at $269 a month. How about Atlas?
Well, out here at Gossett Volkswagen Germantown, your 2026 Atlas SE is only $329 a month.
$329 a month for Atlas, so get out there, ask for Marty McNate. He'll be waiting for you at Gossett Volkswagen Germantown, 7420 Winchester Road, or shop online, GossettVWG.com.
And remember, your future is what you make it.
All 36 month lease, Atlas TC 564,481, MSRP 41,911, Jetta TMO 312,217, MSRP 25,791, Tiguan TMO 43,763, MSRP 32,881, include all rebates and incentives must be financed through Volkswagen Financial Services, PFA 95, excludes tax filing license with the Blue Credit offer in 73126, dealer stock only, MPG estimate provided by EPA.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roof Services. Do you know what Penny Hardaway and I have in common? We should both be in that building celebrating the best basketball players of all time. Of course, I'll have to buy a ticket to get in, but he should already be there. But seriously, we both surround ourselves with the best people we can find. We work hard to achieve our goals, and we are both among the best in our respective fields. At Fiveash, we can't win titles or get national awards, but what we can and do strive to do is give 100% of ourselves to give you the best product possible and one you can be proud of. So if you need a roof, siding, or gutters, give us a call at 901-367-0050, and we will do everything we can to provide you the best of everything. Fiveash Roofing. Fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Fiveash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. It's still a bit slow over here as they clean up this mess on this accident. 240 East near Mount Moriah. The left lane's been blocked for about the last 15 minutes or so. Talk about wrong place, wrong time. There's just so much volume over here right now in this area, either getting on to Billmore Parkway or continuing eastbound on 240. Again, this wreck clogging up traffic. 240 East near Mount Moriah. Hey, if you're having transmission problems, it's okay. Let them check out your vehicle at Amco Transmission's 2 locations right here in Memphis. I'm Commander Chuck, you're on time traffic.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Dobbs Brothers Chevrolet, 7450 Highway 64 in Bartlett. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Going back into Sports Time, Bryant and Brett with you as we've got about 30 minutes left in today's show. It's day 3 of SEC Media Days in Tampa. We've talked 3 of the teams today. Now we've got to wrap it up with the Ole Miss Rebels. And joining us now to talk the Ole Miss Rebels, Neil McCready is with Brett in Tampa.
Thank you, Brian. It's time to talk the Ole Miss Rebels, and we love catching up with Neil McCready from Rebels 247. And every year we visit with Neil here, and I see him a lot in the football season. We catch up during the season. Neil, how are you?
I am. I'm really good, Brett. Good to be with you. And I was skeptical a little bit Tampa, but this is a pretty good setup for us.
They've nailed it.
Yeah, they've crushed it. It makes a ton of sense, actually.
And you know the league needed the money. It's tough times out there. Money's tight, Neil. You know that.
Man, all the players want more, and it just means more, which means you got to make more.
That's why I love the 9 games. I think the fans deserve that value in their season ticket process. At the end, whoever it knocks out of the playoffs, I really don't care. Give me a 9th SEC game over any FCS or even lesser team.
Yeah, it's funny. The fans complain about this, and you shouldn't. They're asking you for more money. They're raising the prices on everything. It's $20 to get a beer. You should want another SEC game and one fewer game against Georgia Southern or the Citadel or McNeese. I don't get that. Like, they're asking you to spend real money, real time to come and sit in the stadium and sweat and get $20
and freeze.
Sweat and freeze, or get $20 beers or $16 waters. You should want to see Tennessee instead of the Citadel. And I get, we want to make the playoff. I completely understand. Beating Tennessee is going to do more for you making the playoff than beating the Citadel.
Last year, the Ole Miss season ended in the national semifinals. Now, new head coach, first game, he coached in the playoffs, Pete Golding. No Ole Miss coach has ever come in more loaded in his first year than Pete's going to enjoy.
Yeah, no, he's whether it was by design or not is probably debatable, but it has the transition could not have gone better for Ole Miss in terms of the very small amount of attrition. They were able to recruit at a really high level. They were able to retain the overwhelming majority of the players that they needed to retain, not wanted to retain, needed to retain. Pete did a tremendous job, I thought, during the craziness of December, the insanity of those first 8 to 15 days of January. He won 2 playoff games, damn near won a third. I don't think he could do any better than what he did. He brought in a really good staff. He benefited from the class of Charlie Weiss Jr. and a few other people. You can't say it about everybody, but you have to say it about Charlie. Charlie handled that situation superbly.
Sure did.
And so, he's in. As we sit here near the end of July, I think you have to give him an absolute ton of credit for what he's done. And he's got the makings of a great roster. Now they've got some holes. I think everyone does. I was talking to some Georgia people today, and I still think Georgia's the class of this league until someone proves that it's not. And, they're a young team, especially when it's second and third units, talented, but young, unproven, not a lot of proven depth. And so I think this is today's college football, which is sort of much more like the NFL where injuries kill. I think at the college level now, injuries at your front line will kill you faster than they used to.
Opening night against Louisville in Nashville. That's the second best game of opening weekend. We know about Clemson and LSU, and we'll get to September 19th. But Ole Miss and U of L in Nashville is going to be a good one.
It is, and I've heard Pete Golding say this a few times when people keep asking him LSU questions. You can tell it irritates him, and it's beyond the Lane thing. It's beyond all that. It's, look, they're going to beat Charlotte, okay, on September the 12th. But Louisville's not a gimme.
Beat Miami, played James Madison, and beat Kentucky a lot worse than Ole Miss did.
Yeah, I've told people this, like in a world, and this isn't going to happen, obviously, but I'm saying this to make a point. In a world where Louisville just shut football down, Jeff Brom would have multiple Power 4 opportunities within a week. Probably shorter. He's got a really nice team. They have a very good running back. He's always produced good quarterback play. They're probably going to score points. And that game's in Nashville. It's an easy drive for their fans. It's a must-win game for Ole Miss. It's not a must-win game for Louisville. The path to winning the ACC is much simpler than the path to winning the SEC. And so, look, I think it's a real challenging opener for Ole Miss, but in a scenario where you get a bunch of teams that all go 9-3, man, you need some sexy wins. You don't need a weak non-con. You need if you're Ole Miss, you need to beat Louisville and then hope Louisville has a special season.
Can Ole Miss get in at 10-2 in the college football playoff?
Yes.
But it's not one of those two losses being Louisville.
No, because look, realistically, if they lose to Louisville,
they're going to lose more than that.
I don't think 7-2 or 8-1 in the SEC is a realistic goal. The question would be what happens to 9-3 teams. What happens if there's a glut of 9-3 SEC teams? And quite frankly, Greg Sankey's answer this morning shouldn't do anything to make SEC teams feel a hell of a lot better about that scenario. When he basically admits out loud that, look, we talked about this in Destin with the College Football Playoff Committee, and I think he referred to it as unsatisfactory. It's not a good word.
Well, he's got the chairman.
He does. I still think there's an anti-SEC sentiment out there. I think it's just pervasive.
Is any held by the chairman?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I joke with someone.
It's rough.
I don't know Hunter Yurachek. He's never struck me as the strongest personality. As you know, I know because of familial things now, I know a lot of Arkansas people. Now, we don't sit around and talk Arkansas football very much at all.
Yeah.
In fact, I can't remember the last time we did. But I've been up there for like father-daughter deals or father-son deals or whatever. And, you'll hear people talking about Razorback athletics, and I've yet to hear anybody go, yeah, we're in great hands with Hunter. I haven't heard that. Nothing against Hunter. I'm sure he's a nice person. I don't know him at all, but he's not held in super high esteem by his own constituency. So I don't know that I have a ton of faith in him standing up and bullying another SEC team into the tournament. And then further, the last couple of years, the Big Ten has won the tournament. And so, usually things come along with that, right? There's to the victor go the spoils, and the Big Ten, at least at the top, has proven to be a better league the last 3 years. It just has.
Are you ready for the Lane portion of the interview?
Let's do it. Why not?
Let's get September 19th over with. It's kind of my thing. And Pete Golding says, look out for Louisville. I say for both teams, look out the following week.
Oh, ain't no doubt.
Ole Miss goes to Gainesville, and in the Ole Miss House of Horrors 2 years ago, has to rank up there with something out of Frankenstein. And the week after for LSU, they host A&M that sent Brian Kelly packing last year. Quirk in the schedule, the A&M has to go to Tiger Stadium 2 years in a row. I'm ready to get through September 19th, but I'm ready to get through September 26th.
Yes. Listen, if you told me today, just put some money on some point spreads, give me A&M plus whatever I'm going to get in Baton Rouge that day, and give me Florida plus whatever I'm going to get.
Throw a two-team parlay. Let's see what happens.
I'm not saying that Ole Miss won't win at Florida, but listen, September the 20th, win, lose, or I guess there is no draw, win or lose, you've got to convince a group of kids to turn the page.
Life goes on.
It must go on.
Convince the team, convince the fan bases.
Well, forget the fan bases.
Yeah,
I mean, I think the Ole Miss fan base is so rabid about Kiffin's return that there's no getting them back to earth after that game one way or the other. But they don't play. That's going to be a real challenge for Pete, getting his team, which I think will be very emotional for that game, back to zero. And let's go. We got a game to play. Because look, if you beat LSU and lose to Florida, in the eyes of the committee, it's the same thing as beating LSU and losing. I mean, the flip side. You losing to LSU and beating Florida, it's an L. Mm-hmm. You don't have room for a bunch of L's. And so, forget that's Lane's issue with A&M. Ole Miss's deal is that Florida game is going to be a real challenge because that week before, Brad, it's going to be absolutely insane.
Time has an amazing way of fixing all things. Let's go way out in the future. It may be after Brett Neal. Will it ever fix Lane's exit from Ole Miss, or should we worry about it and not care?
Well, so I think that's a complicated topic. I'll try to be concise. I think here's the thing with Lane. You have to first say the truth about what Lane Kiffin inherited. He inherited an irrelevant, mediocre program that had no passion behind it. Only the diehards cared. They were a complete non-factor in the SEC scheme, in the national landscape. Nobody thought about Ole Miss. Lane benefited from COVID and all of those things, sure, but he didn't have any advantages that nobody else had. They got ahead of it, and his force of nature caused that. And so you have to first give him credit for making Ole Miss a relevant program, a sexy program. He fired up a fan base. He pushed a fan base. He made a fan base care in a way that they were previously too cool to care. Get mad. I don't care. Half the fan base hates me anyway. So that's all true.
That leaves the other half, though.
They can't decide.
Yeah.
Now they're probably deciding. That said, do I think he left in the wrong way? Of course.
Yeah.
I do. I mean, how do you leave a playoff team? He would tell you, I believe, if in a moment of clarity, he left a playoff team because he simply could not stomach the idea of turning down a job that he views to be superior to stay at one where he was worried that maintaining this was going to be really difficult. Now, is he right? We'll see. I don't know that today. You don't know that today. We don't know that. But that's what he believed, and that led to an exodus that he handled badly. But look, Ole Miss had to expect that he would handle it badly. He always handles exits badly. And so, again, I think it's a complex thing. Will time eventually make that go away? It depends on what happens in Baton Rouge and Oxford over the next few years.
We may need a lot of time. That's Neil McCready from Rebels 247. Neil, I'll see you a lot during the football season, and we'll catch up a lot.
That sounds great.
Thank you, my friend. Neil McCready with us talking all things Ole Miss. Our SEC Media Days coverage is brought to you by All-Star Chevrolet in Olive Branch, Jimmy McElroy and Associates, Ronnie Grisani's in Regalia, Bangers Pickleball, Landers Ford in Collierville, Sissy's Log Cabin, Jason's Deli, First National Bank and Trust, Jim's Place in Collierville, Gould Salon and Spa, and Ronnie Grisani's in Regalia. And Gould Salon and Spa, they've been turning heads since 1932. Mr. Sam Gould, he had a dream, and that was to provide his clientele with a truly professional and unique fashion experience. And it's been realized. It's been nailed with a family operation from sons and granddaughters and grandchildren and valuable associates from a small hair salon to today's juggernaut, upscale ambiance, chic style that once was considered a Hollywood luxury. We have it in Memphis with all the great locations, and there's one never far from you, wherever you are in our area, from a Gould Salon and Spa service near you. Body treatments, massages, facial and nail care, and Meta Spa services. Go to GouldSalonSpa.com, a commitment to providing a unique fashion-forward experience. Over 90 years of distinction, 300 associates making our area feel so very good at Gould's, exclusive to our area. And at holiday time, it's the best gift. It's the perfect size. It's a perfect color. The best holiday gift for any season is that Gould's gift card. The best spa packages, salon products, and those gift cards, they are the big hit at Gould's Salon and Spa.
Well, I loved what Brett was saying earlier in the show, also talking to Neil McCready about the schedule. I mean, you've got that game against LSU. That's going to block out the sun on September 19th. But that opening game against Louisville, don't overlook that one. And then right when you're done with LSU, you've got back-to-back road games at Florida, at Vanderbilt, then back home against Missouri, then at Texas. Not an easy stretch of games there at all, so definitely will be interesting, but really like this Ole Miss team going into the season. Well, Brett told you about our great sponsors for SEC Media Days, live from the Marriott in Tampa, Landers Ford in Carterville, Sissy's Log Cabin, Jason's Deli, First National Bank and Trust, Jim's Place in Carterville, Gould Salon and Spa, Ronnie Grisani's in Regalia, All-Star Chevrolet in Olive Branch, Jimmy McElroy and Associates and Capitol Grill, and Bangers Pickleball, 6787 Snowden Lane in South Haven. Brett mentioned it earlier. We're going to be there in just a couple of weeks for a remote. Make sure you come out and see us. Make sure you get out there this weekend. It's all the rage because it's all the fun. One of the fastest growing sports in the country, and you don't have to be a member to enjoy Bangers Pickleball. They've got 10 courts, 4 indoor, 6 outdoor. They even offer free lessons for beginners. But make sure you go out there because they've got so many things to do, like their leagues, their tournaments. They've got a restaurant and bar, whiskey tastings, wine tastings, event space, fire pits, mahjong, and trivia. Enjoy everything from playing pickleball to just hanging out, eating great food, and soaking in the atmosphere. Mid-South's first venue to combine sports, food, and fun in one dynamic environment. Founded to unite a growing community of pickleball enthusiasts along with their families and friends. Curated collection of professional pickleball equipment, high-performance apparel, and signature Bangers gear. Bangers Pickleball has it all the rage, all the fun, all for you. As always, please dink responsibly and let's bang at Bangers Pickleball. We need to get to our final break of the day, and when we return, we'll wrap up today's show with Moe's Crunch Time.
Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Available locally on your radio dial as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Wherever you are, it's easy to stay tuned to Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Unlock your new go-to spot, Codes Dispensary in Steele, Missouri, just over an hour from Memphis. When you're ready for a legal, reliable option, they're right up the road. Explore the full menu of top-shelf products in-store and online. Short on time? Order ahead and cruise through the drive-thru for a quick pickup. Stack rewards while you stock up with Club Codes. Earn points for every dollar spent. Codes Dispensary, now open in Steele, Missouri. Supreme cannabis that's worth the drive. Learn more at codesdispensary.com. That's codesdispensary.com.
You know that feeling when something is supposed to be complicated and then it's not? That's the Dobbs Brothers way. For your new Chevrolet, there's no games, no runaround, no surprises, just straight answers from people who actually mean them. Buying a car shouldn't feel like a battle, and at Dobbs Brothers Chevrolet, it doesn't. Trust, transparency, and driving our community forward. That's the Dobbs Brothers way. Shop Dobbs Brothers Chevrolet of Bartlett today. Together, let's drive.
Nothing symbolizes your love like a natural diamond, and nothing compares to the real diamonds you'll find at Sissy's Log Cabin. Here, you'll only find brilliant natural diamonds that have been here long before your I do. and that will become more treasured with time, just like your love. Explore our expansive selection and enjoy unmatched quality and service at your nearest Sissy's Log Cabin or at sissyslogcabin.com. Find a real natural diamond worthy of your story only at Sissy's.
Never underestimate the value of a gift card. A gift card is a gift that requires very little effort on your part. Take, for instance, a gift card from Sunrise. It's good, obviously, at either Sunrise on Jefferson or Sunrise East on Poplar, and couldn't be simpler to get. You could grab one when you're having a delicious, fast, fresh breakfast or lunch made just for you, or, and this is really cool, you can get them at Sunrise's website. Go to Sunrise's website, and you can send a gift card by email or text. You can text someone a gift card for Sunrise.
Crunch Time is brought to you by Humdinger's Corporate Catering. Enjoy tacos made with crunchy slaw, grilled fish, and chicken, and the best taco sauce in town. Find out more, call Jenny Nash at 901-606-3172.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Dobbs Brothers Chevrolet at 7450 Highway 64 in Bartlett. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
This is pretty cool, and we're just getting started.
Fanning the globe.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy! This game has always been called the world's greatest cocktail party. Do you know what is going to happen here tonight?
This is for all the biggest crunch time.
You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that?
Crunch time between the hedges.
The ball game is over, and Memphis has its first win in 16 tries. Its first win ever against its fierce in-state rival, Tennessee.
Goodbye!
It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin. This baby is over.
Crunch Time is brought to you by Moe's Southwest Grill. Need a crunchy bite to eat? Head to Moe's for nachos, crunch wraps, tacos, salads, and more. Moe's.com, it's your go-to for all your taco crunch time emergencies. Well, Brett, what I learned today is that The Athletic did a ranking and tier list. They kind of put it out there as a tier list, but it was also a ranking list of all of the starting quarterbacks across the FBS in college football this season. We mentioned it earlier in the show, but Memphis's Marcus Stokes appears in tier 6 as the number 95th quarterback in the country. So I think a couple of takeaways from this one, that The Athletic, or at least the people that wrote this story, believe that Marcus Stokes will be the starting quarterback over Air Nolan when the season starts for the Tigers, but also the fact that he is at number 95. A lot of other quarterbacks in the American rank ahead of him, but again, I think a lot of that has to do with his background coming from the Division II ranks to Memphis. I think they just kind of instinctively put a lot of those FBS quarterbacks that have been around the game at the FBS level ahead of him. So, bulletin board material, I guess you could say, for Marcus Stokes, but definitely fun anytime we get these lists to kind of see what people are saying about this quarterback battle and see kind of which side people are falling on. And we'll know eventually here in about a month or so who that starting quarterback will be for the Tigers.
We sure will, and a great opportunity for them to go out there and show them. That's what they can show them. What I learned, Bryant, a big, emphatic, quick no when I asked the commissioner of the SEC between now and this time next year, about 51 weeks or so, from Nashville, will there be expansion in the Southeastern Conference? And the no couldn't have come quicker, more firm, and emphatically. All the expansion talk dropped dead. It's over.
Yeah, no, it was interesting hearing that from the commissioner for sure. Well, what I could have done without it is continuing to be this LeBron saga, but it is what happened last night where the Heat's YouTube channel posted an introductory press conference, kind of a upcoming introductory press conference for LeBron James, welcoming him, whatever it is. There was no video actually there, but it was just kind of set there as a placeholder for when the actual event takes place. Problem is, there is no event yet because LeBron James has not made his decision on where he'll play next year. And looks like they have maybe fired the person whose job that was. I've seen some people throw up the LinkedIn link to that exact job. So this LeBron James waiting game, it's hurting a lot of people out there.
It is, but spoiler alert, he's signing with the Miami Heat, and that person should not be fired over this. Mistakes happen, but they're going to pay a big price. Could have done without this. Kalen DeBoer said the quarterback battle is on in Titletown. Here's the battle that needs to be on in Tuscaloosa is improved offensive line play.
That's right.
Or it won't matter who's at quarterback. You could have Joe Namath and Jalen Milroe and Tua and Greg McElroy and A.J. McCarron all rolled into one. Bama was just really bad. Throw Bryce Young in there. Bama was just really bad in short yardage last year, and Ty Simpson bailed them out. They got to improve in the offensive line, or it's not going to matter who's at quarterback.
No, it's not going to matter at all. Where are you beaming tonight?
Beam me to all things SEC at the last home of TB12 in the National Football League, Raymond James Stadium. Big SEC party there tonight. And then tomorrow we'll talk dogs, we'll talk hogs, we'll talk Lane, and we'll talk Arch.
Boy, it's going to be a fun one tomorrow at SEC Media Days. Beam me, though, tonight to this game a little bit later in the night. Tigers and Cubs on ESPN. This has been a fun series to watch. This Cubs team may be figuring some things out, and on the other side, the Tigers, a lot of questions there about what they do, especially with the trade deadline approaching.
A rematch of the 1945 World Series.
Oh, how about that? Okay, all right. So just add a little more hatred in there as we get the rematch of the final or of the World Series. But it is going to
also Rays and Jays in Toronto tonight. Right. O's and Sox at Fenway. Call the fire department. The Red Sox are really hot. And we'll watch the end of this Cardinal game, I guess, if you make us.
Yeah, I guess so. But no, it is going to be a lot of fun tonight with the baseball we do have. And then, like Brett said, we'll get day 4 of SEC Media Days tomorrow, the final day down in Tampa. Before we get out of here, I do want to thank our sponsors one more time for the day. Bangers Pickleball, Landers Ford in Collierville, Sissy's Log Cabin, Jason's Deli, First National Bank and Trust, Jim's Place in Collierville, Gould's Salon and Spa, Ronnie Grazzani's in Regalia, All-Star Chevrolet in Olive Branch, Jimmy McElroy and Associates, and Capitol Grill. Thank you so much for being with us this week, but that's all the time we